This is Digivation Network.
My name is Bayero Agabi from Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. I sincerely welcome you to this event tagged the World Wide Web Day celebration. With a sub-team creating opportunities for a new Africa digital economy. Before I continue, I'd like to thank the team at the Center for Cyber Awareness and Development, who work day and night to make sure that this event takes place today. Please, if you are part of this team, please be upstanding. Please help me appreciate them. Yeah, because as a matter of fact, I did the least of the job. They did the main job. You know, I also want to thank all of our partners and sponsors, the media, the industry leaders and stakeholders. And especially, I'd like to thank Alhaji Ladi Oguneye. I say so because he was the president of COAN, that is the Computer Association of Nigeria, when he became NCS. And within that period, AIT also had issues. For those who are old enough to understand, there was a time AIT went under, and it was so bad that, you know, AIT was actually asking for donations and all of that. For 1 year, AIT wasn't on air. And then for those people I knew who were actually calling me, you know, for interviews, for other things, I can tell you that it was me calling them and they were not picking my calls at that time anymore. There and there, I knew and understood that what they wanted or needed or liked about me was my microphone and not me. And he was the only one I could call, and his door still open. So, thank you very much, sir. The World Wide Web today is a global celebration dedicated to web browsing, online activities that brings wealth of knowledge to your fingertips. It is a chance to celebrate the way the internet created an environment for collaboration and business growth, while also taking a deeper look into its evolution over the past, its invention by Berners-Lee. Today's event to leverage the opportunities the World Wide Web presents. Look at the policies to grow the space and create a sane and secure Nigeria digital society. We are here also expected to share our organizational vision and strategic plan to drive the national digital plan to grow a sustainable digital economy. As you may know, this is the first of its kind in Nigeria. This is happening and it's being done by CECAD and its partners all here seated. For us at CECAD, we believe from there onwards, we believe the Nigerian version will chronicle the impact of the internet, best ways to use the internet for good and economic development, its impact on the media, business, governance, youth empowerment, and entrepreneurship. For us, this is the best part of today, which is what I called what the internet is not for. For instance, only you can keep your privacy private. Therefore, the internet is not for private matters. Stop abusing your children's rights, as it will catch up with them when they grow up. because the internet never forgets. As I close, let me share with you what we as CECAD have come to know of the internet and its usage as its usage grows. There are seven specific harmful effects associated with the internet use. They are internet addiction, information overload, harm to social relationship, harm to cognitive development, harm to public-private boundaries, harmful effects on knowledge and beliefs. This continues to harm our communities also, and harm to democracy and democratic citizens. The internet is the guiding technology of the IT age, just as the electrical engineer was of the industry age. The internet is a global network of interlinked networks that mainly provide wireless interactive communications. Through the internet, though the internet was first developed and deployed in 1969, it was only in the 90s that it became available to the public. From there onwards, its use has diffused rapidly throughout the world, with over 7 billion users of wireless devices currently that employs internet technology. It's been postulated that about 95% of all information available are being digitized and made accessible via the internet. The internet has also led to a complete transformation in communication, availability of knowledge, as well as social interaction. However, as with all major technological changes, there are positive and negative effects of the internet on the society too. On the positive, which overweigh the negative, discussed earlier in this note, the internet now provides effective communication using email, instant messages, services, and so many, from banking to shopping, to mention just but a few. We can also now access news from any part of the world without depending on the TV or newspaper. Education has received a boost as uncountable books and journals are available online. However, as organizations, individuals, and societies continues to go digital, we always converse, and we will continue to converse for the responsible use of the internet. Again, I state, don't do today what you know you will not be proud of tomorrow on the internet. Use the internet responsibly. I thank you very much for coming.
Thank you very much. It deserves a better round of applause. Thank you very much for that interesting lineup there on the use of the internet. While he was speaking, I was just trying to go through, that's one fantastic thing about the internet. You can sit in the comfort of your homes, and of course, you're connected and you're getting more information as the day go by. And I got this, will I call it a random fact, that way back in the 1960s, the internet was a military-funded experiment that sought to connect computers to one another. But today, like Dr. Byro said, over 7 billion users are connected wirelessly. For Nigerians, they will say Uyibo, which is really strong, and of course, it's helping us to achieve a whole lot. And of course, that's one of the things we'll be talking about today, how this fantastic phenomenon is affecting everybody, both rich and poor, old and young. And trust me, a crop of speakers will be doing justice to the panel discussion when the time comes. Please, a round of applause one more time for Dr. Byro Agabi. I'll be taking a few recognitions. Of course, as the paper gets to me, I'll read up. But standing on existing protocol. All right, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to make welcome Mr. Destiny Amani is the president, Nigeria Internet Group, NIG. Just give us a wave from wherever you're seated. A round of applause. Thank you very much. We also have in our midst engineer Ike Namani, president, ATCON, and CEO, Medallion Communications. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. Also, we have in our midst Imran Duba. He's a deputy manager, online media, NCC. Just give us a wave from wherever you're seated. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence. Also, we have Viola Askia Usoro of Digital Bridge Institute. God bless you, ma'am. Alhaji Ladi Oguneye, founder, Data Science Nigeria Limited, is also in our midst. God bless you, sir. Mr. Tony Ojobo, President, African ICT Foundation, also in our midst. You're welcome, sir. God bless you. Rita Shoremi of NITSDA, well represented. Thank you very much. God bless you. We also have Remy Adejumo, CEO, Cloudflex. Thank you very much, sir. We have Kunle Idowu, popularly known as Frank Donga. All right, just a quick correction there that Alhaji Ladi Oguneye is the former president of NCS. You're welcome, sir. God bless you. And as the recognitions come, as people come in, we'll take all of that gradually. Like I said, we'll be running this with the program, and hopefully we're waiting to join in the DG of NITSDA that will be taking his keynote address via Zoom. While we're waiting for that to connect, please, I mentioned earlier on that we have the conference code for today, RBH 2021. The RBH is in capital letter. RB and H 2021 together is our conference code for this meeting, so we can connect. Also note that we're streaming live on Digivation YouTube page, Facebook, and all social media platforms, as we understand that in order for us to observe all of the COVID-19 protocols, we had to, connect people via the internet, while we take the limited number that this hall can take. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while we await the connection from the DG of NITSDA, let us also note that today we have a crop of panelists that will be doing justice to why we are gathered here today. And like the topic for today states, that, of course, the World Wide Web, creating opportunities for a new African digital economy, is actually apt. And the speakers, of course, I trust will be doing justice to that when the time comes. We'll also be taking goodwill messages, and in no time, within a space of 2 hours or less, depending on how much we're able to control our time, we'll be out of here fully loaded with all of the information that I'll be getting here today. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome once again. My name is Louisa Olani. We'll take some music while we wait to connect with the DG of NITSDA. Thank you very much.
The DG NIMSI, Engineer Aliu Abdulaziz, the Professor
Not
Mohammed
yet, please.
Ajia.
I guess you have started reading. We can't connect to you yet, so just hold on a bit. We're trying to sort it out here.
Yeah. Okay.
Please say something.
Can you hear me? Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. All right, the floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. The DG NIMSI, Engineer Aliu Abdulaziz, President CEO Digital Bridge, Professor Mohammed Ajia, MD CEO Backbone, Professor Muhammad Bello Abubakar, all other important dignitaries present. Good afternoon or good morning. I would like to apologize on behalf of the DG, who was supposed to be with you. All preparations have been made for him to deliver his keynote, but being a chief executive, another emergency call. So I'm here to deliver his keynote, and it goes like this. I'm highly delighted to attend this important event to mark the World Wide Web Day. The theme of the event, creating opportunities for new African digital economy for this year's celebration, is apt and timely. In important events like this, we can reflect on how Nigeria and Africa at large have used the web to create opportunities for the citizenry. Since the invention of the Wide Web 3 decades ago by Tim Berners-Lee, it has revolutionized our ways of life. The World Wide Web is one of the ways people access the information on the internet. Its positive impact on humanity is invaluable. This impact ranges from governance, agriculture, job creation, businesses, healthcare, education, to mention a few. Ladies and gentlemen, let's imagine our life today without the web. The opportunities created by the web in driving the digital economy are enormous. According to the International Finance Corporation report, the African digital economy future is valued at 180 billion US dollars. Similarly, according to McKinsey, the digital economy in Africa is expected to grow to over 300 billion US dollars by 2025. The World Economic Forum also predicts that over 60% of the world GDP will be digitized by 2022. And that within the next decade, digital platforms will be used to create close to 70% of the new value. The web plays a crucial role in achieving all these projections. Realizing the importance of this opportunity, the Digital Economy Initiative for Africa aims to ensure that all businesses and governments in Africa are digitally enabled by 2030. The web is the backbone of the digital economy. It has changed our business models and products, and it serves as a pathway to opportunities in the digital economy through connectivity, data, and digital platforms. Connectivity ensures that value is created and captured. It also ensures global access to products and services 24 hours a day, 24/7 in the digital economy. Through the web, digital data continue to drive the evolution of the digital economy. The web provides access to massive volumes of data used for analysis for virtually every aspect of our lives. Another significant contribution of the web is driving the digital economy in the development of digital platforms. Digital platforms provide the mechanism for bringing together a set of parties to interact online and also form a new core business model nowadays. Social and personal activities on the various digital platforms. These leave tons of digital footprints and that provide huge amounts of data for analytics. The power of platforms is reflected in the fact that 7 of the world's top 8 companies by market capitalization use platform businesses model. By leveraging the wide web, many digital economic potentials lie ahead for Africa. These potentials will increase growth and productivity. Utilizing the web will reduce the cost of production and distribution of goods and services, improves management efficiency and communication with stakeholders, increase competition and broaden markets, provide options for customers, and improve marketing and pricing. As an apex IT regulator in Nigeria, mandated with the regulation and development of information technology, NIDA plays a crucial role in our aspiration to attain a digital Nigeria. The agency, through its strategies, has come up with numerous regulations and initiatives to ensure that opportunities are created and utilized to achieve a digital economy. Some of these initiatives are encouraging a free domain registration for public institutions through NIRA, facilitating digital literacy training and awareness, digital content creation and indigenous language translation, effective digitization of government services as well as other e-services for the public sector, deployment of IT intervention projects that facilitate digital literacy and skills development, development of Nigerian government enterprise architecture and Nigerian e-government interoperability framework, funding capacity building and innovation initiatives to facilitate digital jobs creation, and also to deal with emerging technologies, the establishment of National Center for Artificial Intelligence and robotics. All these initiatives from NIDA almost rely on the web for its operation and other things. At this juncture, I want to say a special thank you to the Center for Cyber Awareness and Development, CECAD, for organizing this celebration. As I heard from Dr. Baero, it's first of its kind. We hope the celebration will provide an avenue to appreciate the impact of World Wide Web on growth in different aspects of our digital lives and further explore the technology to create more opportunities in our pursuit of achieving a digital Nigeria and Africa at large. Thank you for your kind attention.
Digital economy. You also stated that the African digital economy is worth over 180 US dollars. And trust me, that is going.
Thank you very much, man. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, okay. First of all, permit me to undress for this address. Okay. Even if you can't see me, I can see you clearly now. You know the way your glasses fog up when you are breathing through the mask. So I sincerely apologize that I have the rare privilege to not use my mask, for the next couple of minutes. It can be quite uncomfortable, but it is what it is. We have to do what we can to protect ourselves. My friends call me Frank Donga. I'm an actor, comedian, digital content creator, amongst other things I do. For about a decade now in Nigeria, I have operated in the entertainment industry, digital content creation industry. And even though my background is in agriculture with a master's degree in animal genetics, it's a privilege for me, for people like me, to have that opportunity to cross over from sciences into direct entertainment. I'm sure a few people might be curious as to how that was possible. Internet. And that's why we're here today, to celebrate the impact the internet has made in our lives for good, and also identify areas where we need to pay attention to the suspicions or the dangers and appropriately take measures. For me as a person, that has been my journey. Without boring you with my long story of how I transited through from agriculture to journalism to entertainment, I will just summarize it by saying the internet made that possible. I made a short comedy sketch about interviews, job interviews, and the challenges that young people face about job interviews. And after the second or third episode, it went viral. I didn't even know what viral meant then. It was a very technical word to me. I remember I was on vacation in Dubai and a friend called me and said, "Bros, you need to come back home. We don't go viral." I said, "That sounds bad. Who had disease?" He said, "No, it's not disease." I said, "But viral." He said, "No, why are you talking like this? Just come back. We need to do more of those videos. People are liking it." Then I went online and checked viral. What does viral mean? Like viral? Because coming from a genetics background, and, dealing with animal diseases, viral just struck me like something very bad. It can't be good news. When they said viral, so I went on, viral, okay, means when a lot of people are accessing a particular portal or sharing a particular content, and people seem to like it, and then you have a lot of heightened digital footprint. Calm down. I didn't know this much that time. I just, I had to learn on the job. And that was how I started. And from the first video, I made the second one, the third one, the fourth one. For somebody like me who probably thought I'll be by now in some laboratory in a university somewhere in the world, cooking up some recipe for molecular genetics or recombinant DNA, all that stuff, very techy, impressive, intellectually stimulating stuff. All of a sudden, here I was. I had to do Baba Salah kind of thing to make people laugh. And I liked it for a few reasons. First of all, the feedback was amazing. I didn't know that something I decided to do with a few friends on some street at Legally Ayoride at Victoria Island. Some people in other parts of the country saw it and they liked it, and it meant a lot to them. And people across the world saw it, and it was just fascinating to me. Back then, there was no Instagram, All we had was a few platforms, including YouTube, and YouTube was the platform of choice then. And the long journey began. I fought it for a while because I wasn't used to that. I didn't know how it would affect my life personally from my 9 to 5. Eventually, not the streets, but the entertainment industry called my name. And I picked the call and said, okay, let's give this a try. And the more I did it, the more I loved it, the more the feedback was amazing. I mean, let me just share one of them with you. I was in a banner for a speaking engagement like this many years back, and a gentleman, probably in his mid-50s, called me to the side at the backstage and said, I'd like to see you. You know, we're in the middle of taking selfies, pictures, and all that. So I said, okay, maybe you wanted a picture. He said, no, I don't really want a picture with you. Okay, that's a bit of a downside. He said, no, last year I was about to take my own life. Sorry, what? He said I was about to commit suicide. Yes, things were going very bad for me. We just wanted to pull the plug and end it all, you know, and then somehow I was on my phone, going through the internet, maybe last minute preparations to check out, and I saw this video you did. I found it very hilarious. I mean, cracked me up. I hadn't laughed in a long time. Then I watched the second one, the third one, the fourth one. I saw there were more. Then I kept watching it. Then I kept longing for you to make more. And for some reason, I just felt the character I played, Frank Donga, who was a perpetual job seeker, who lived in his own world and never seemed to care what the downside of his fooling around during job interviews, what they cost him. He just relentlessly went for job interview after job interview, fooling himself, messing up, never preparing. But that resilience, just said, this guy is so much of a fool in his own world, but he's not giving up. I don't think I should give up too. Not my words, those were his words. And that shook me to the foundation, like, what on earth? Here I was many miles away, just kind of fooling around, like we say, with my friends. I mean, and somebody decided not to commit suicide because of a video I did. Woo, this is a huge responsibility. So I continued. And that's what I've done ever since then, you know, from comedy sketches on YouTube and social media, went on to making movies. Some of you have watched some of them, like The Wedding Party, Hakunde, and the next thing, I'm getting roles, and we're doing movies for Netflix, we're doing comedy specials, we're doing TV series. You know, I just came back from a 3-week-long TV series we just wrapped in somewhere in Lagos. And that's been the journey. Then Facebook UK reached out, then YouTube partnership, then all these whole things. It was all amazing, thanks to the internet. Thank you very much. And I gave you a brief background of where I'm coming from academically. Someone like me wouldn't naturally find it that easy to get into that field if it wasn't for that internet and the opportunity. I mean, you will have to wait a long queue because you probably will start with carrying cables, doing PA before you get into the, you know, role of being tried on screen. Talk less of getting a major role. But mine was sped up because of that internet. And the internet has impacted our lives in so many ways. I'm sure a lot of people come from different areas, walks of life, industries that have thrive on the use of the internet, and it's amazing. So I can only speak for the next 3 minutes on how it has affected us in the entertainment industry without gainsaying. It's tremendous. When you literally can sit down in Lagos in your house, make a movie, put it online, and make hundreds of thousands of dollars without leaving your sitting room. Yes, I've done before. Wait, I didn't say I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars. So, because now super easy go talk, now FIRS go. The FIRS, if you are listening, now joke. But I'm saying I've done content and they've seen somewhere else. You know? So, but these things happen. I mean, you see a lot of what people call Instagram comedians now, where somehow, I don't know, Instagram comedian, that name. Anyways, young people that hitherto wouldn't have been employed or would have had a hard time going for job interviews, or would have been hard pressed to get that visa for the golden fleece outside the country. You know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Young people like that now have a viable source of income because of the internet. You know, they make content, get online, and then they get revenues through YouTube advertising, endorsement deals, product placements on their content. In the lockdown for COVID-19, which was pretty unfortunate, a lot of people in the industry that come from now couldn't go out to do what they normally do, go to sets, gather, you know, in crowds, events, emceeing events, you know, all those things were shut down. How did we cope? It was a double-edged sword for me. The people who were used to making content by themselves already explored that opportunity to grow and expand. Economically, that was good news. Career-wise, it was better news. People that hadn't explored that opportunity found ways to explore. I mean, people that would have to physically commute from point A to point B now were forced to think of a solution, you know, think outside the box, as it were. and the internet became very valuable. Also, a lot of people were depressed. We have different reports about domestic violence, depression, this and that, because of death rates, fear, across the world. People couldn't travel for medical treatment. A lot of people were scared. They were bored at home. People were forced to stay together and under the same roof. It was 2020 was like a massive, reality TV show by force. You didn't even have to sign up. You were forced into it. Yeah, you liked it or not. That neighbor, you didn't like his face every day. You had to see him every day for the next lockdowns. It was for some people it was a nightmare. And people couldn't go to their favorite sports anymore. No Owambe. I know that Owambe really hit hard, right? I know we like our Owambes. The Owambe was really hard hit. But then we had to make do of what we had. And so a lot of people found ways to explore the internet. People started, advertising aggressively their products and services. And so for a lot of people, it was a terrible period, and for some people, it was a good period because they were able to adapt. And I believe that's one of the things we'll be learning or networking on, or learning or sharing today, adapting and moving products and services using internet and maximizing it. And then, of course, the security issues with cyber products and services. So in all, during the lockdown, in summary, for me as a person and for the whole industry, entertainment industry, was a period of, it was a trying period, but it was also a period to explore, to learn, to adapt, and to experiment and to grow. And that a lot of us have been able to do maximally well. So for me, to answer your question, it was a bit of a trying period, but yes, we were able to adapt and also provide the much needed entertainment and psychological comfort that a lot of people needed in those dark days. And here we are. And I seriously hope and believe that as we go on as a nation and data costs hopefully get cheaper, more and more people will be able to use, young people especially, will be able to use the internet and all the products and services that come with it to ease the issue of unemployment and many other challenges that we have in Nigeria as a whole. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for Frank Donga as he dresses up after undressing for that speech. Well, while he went on talking about that, a whole lot of slang, aside the viral, now you see even, young people speaking some slangs that their parents will not even understand. You go all of the LOL and the BRB, I mean, which is a common one for you, that sometimes you see some of their text messages you can't even decode. And they go all out. And like, I don't know, what's the popular one for you? I mean, you see someone telling you KK, I mean, that's supposed to be like, okay, your message acknowledged. LOL, laugh out loud. BRB, just recently I said BRB, and someone asked me, what does that mean? I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm woke, right? And you're not, And someone tells you, ROTLF, rolling on the floor. I'm like, okay, where did all of this come from? But these are some of the vocabularies that young people are using these days. And as a parent, you have to decode. If not, they're going to sell you, collect your house rent. You will not know that they're talking about you in the house. So, like, he learns viral, and some of us are learning some of these things. These are some of the perks of the internet and, of course, the social media space. A round of applause for Frank again for keeping us. All right, meant to understand that we have a whole lot of participants online, and I'll try and go over it as much as time permits me. In a special way, please, can just give us an internet wave from wherever you're watching us from. Abdul Kadril Apokagi. We also have Abiola, Adebayo, Abejide, Mohammed. We have Ahmed Alex Omar. Thank you very much from wherever you're watching us from. Ajibola Abiola. We have Akufe Jonah, Aro Leo, Babatola Adeyemi, Blessing Kure, Chidi Okpala, Chijoke AK, Confident Stavely, welcome ma'am, David Barrow Thomas, Femi Abugo. We also have Green Spring Communications Limited. Thank you very much for joining us. Hadiza Umaru, Jimo Abdulmajid Okaka, Justice Egbu, Kayode Meyambe, King James, Maria Menebo, Mohammed Rudman, thank you for joining us. Suzette Uke, Obatuga Elisha. Please want to note that for all of the participants online, You can also join us in the session, sending your questions. We'll be taking everything, and you're participating even if you're not with us physically. That's one of the beauties of the internet. We welcome you and we say thank you for joining us via wherever you're watching us from. Remember that you can stream live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/Digivation Network TV. Also on Facebook, we're on facebook.com/Digivation Bayero on Facebook. You can watch us live and also send in all your comments, and it will be acknowledged right here. While this speech was going on, we had Mr. Femi Williams walking as a former GMD Chams PLC. Just give us a wave. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you. We also have CEO New Waves Ecosystem Limited with us in the building. Thank you very much, sir. Owner of Connect Platform, also with us. We have Mr. Remy Nweke, Editor-in-Chief, IT Realms Group. Thank you very much, sir, for coming. A round of applause for him, please. Just wave us. Mr. Fatai Akinshola, Rep of MD CEO Galaxy Backbone. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll take the recognitions as they come. Quickly, we're moving over to goodwill messages. We'll take goodwill messages. We're trying to work with time so we can still meet up with the time appropriated for this event. And of course, in no particular order, please join me to make welcome Mr. Femi Williams, is a representative of the President of the Nigeria Computer Society, Professor Shudia Adeshina. A round of applause for Mr. Williams for the goodwill. Thank you very much.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. To extend the jargons online again, when somebody says RIP, what does it mean? RIP, what does it mean? Are you sure? That's the local one. RIP is to pull things apart. All right? Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not supposed to be the one to do this one because we have one of the founders of the industry, one of the founders of the profession, the former president of the Nigerian Computer Society in the room, Alaji Ladi Oguneye. Please help me give them a clap. Everybody of all practitioners in IT space in Nigeria today, and we have some of our regulators NIDA here today. So, Professor Adeshina Shudia and the National Executive Committee wish to congratulate Digivation and thank you for this show. Recognizing that this platform exists and it has made the biggest impact to mankind and to our world in the last few set of years. So we are up to the task. We are ready to exploit the opportunities that are there. We are ready to face the challenges that it will pose. Because with every opportunity, there are commensurate challenges. As some people are thinking about to use it for good things, some people they're also thinking about how to use it for bad things. That makes the world balance. Abi? Okay. So from Professor Adeshina Shudia, he has asked me to congratulate Dr. Bayero and the entire Digivation team for the good job you are doing here today. Congratulations.
Thank you very much for that short and precise goodwill message, and we'll say congratulations on the successful event you had in New York National Conference. We also send our regards to the President. Up next on our goodwill message, we have the President of DBI, Engineer Professor Mohammed Ajia. Of course, the goodwill will be taken by Viola Askia. A round of applause for her, please.
Good morning, all. All protocols duly observed. To borrow a leaf from Frank, I have already undressed for this address. My name is Viola Askia, Head of Campus, DBI Lagos, and I will be reading the goodwill message of President Digital Bridge Institute in the person of Engineer Professor Mohammed Ajia. At the Center for Cyber Awareness and Development World Wide Web Day 2021. I am truly honored and privileged to deliver this goodwill message at the Center for Cyber Awareness and Development, CECAD's celebration of the World Wide Web Day 2021, a celebration dedicated to online activity, which provides a platform to discuss the impact of the internet and the opportunities of emerging digital technologies for business, raise additional awareness, and explore online safety strategies for individuals and businesses. I commend CECAD and Cyber Africa magazine for bringing this pertinent event to fruition. The event's theme, the World Wide Web, creating opportunities for a new African economy, is extremely commendable, as is its focus on finding the best ways to use the internet for good, for economic development, especially through youth empowerment and entrepreneurship, and for creating a sustainable digital economy. This is particularly apt given the aspiration of the federal government to move Nigeria towards maturity and competitiveness through the development of a digital economy based on the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy. With the biggest economy in Africa and one of the largest populations of youth in the world, Nigeria is well positioned to build a robust digital economy that can transform the country's socio-economic landscape. I have no doubt that the ideas shared and the decisions held here today will contribute in no small measure to the realization of this aspiration. Incidentally, the development of a robust digital economy through ICT training for youth empowerment and enabling digital entrepreneurship is one of our key areas of focus at Digital Bridge Institute, established by the Nigerian Communications Commission to build human capacity in ICT and telecommunications. DBI is one of the 6 ITU centers of excellence in human capacity development in the African region. From its 4 operational campuses in Abuja, Lagos, Kano, and Yola, the Institute offers a wide range of courses and programs in areas including telecommunications, digital literacy, cybersecurity, e-governance, networking, project management, data analysis, software development, emerging technologies, and much more. Once again, I would like to welcome our esteemed guests, speakers, presenters, panelists, and participants, and congratulate CECAD and Cyber Africa magazine for organizing this inspired event. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for that. Still on the internet jargons, I told us earlier on that we can connect to the internet right here so that we don't go FOMO. I mean, I just learned that FOMO is fear of missing out, right? We'll get to that as it comes. A round of applause for DBI again for that fantastic one. Up next is the president of ATCON, Engineer Ikechukwu Namani, for his goodwill message. Please, a round of applause for him, please.
Good morning, everybody. All protocol duly observed. ATCON, for sure, is a big supporter of this event because if you notice, the membership of ATCON cuts about 9 different subgroups. That covers all mobile network operators, fixed line, infrastructure providers, ISPs, value-added service providers, equipment manufacturers and vendors, telecom and ICT consultancy. And one common key part of all these subgroups is that we all depend on the internet to operate. So this event is one over the years we've always participated in and we've always supported. And as GSM is even celebrating 20 years in Nigeria later this month, there is no better time than this to have this event. I'll be speaking a little bit later in one of the panel sections, and that's when I'll really take time to discuss my take on this event. I don't want to overlabor it. Thanks, and congratulations to the team.
Thank you very much, sir. It's always a pleasure to listen to you. Up next, last but not the least on our messages this morning, we have Professor Mohammed Bello Abubakar of Galaxy Backbone. He'll be represented here. Please, can we have a goodwill message from Galaxy Backbone? A round of applause for Galaxy Backbone. Do we have the representative here? Oh, he just had to step out a bit. Please also note, while we're waiting for him to come, we have a Nigeria Cybersecurity Survey 2021. This document was given to us. Okay, Dr. Bayiru Kriv, the indulgence of Alhaji Ladi Ogunleye, former president of NCS, to give a goodwill before we move over to the other segment. Is he around? Okay, stepped out. I was trying to talk to us about this form, this document that was given to us during registration. It is the Nigeria Cybersecurity Survey 2021. We crave your indulgence to please fill the forms. We'll be going around later on to collect it. This, of course, will be a good resource for some of the information they're trying to put together. Your response will go a long way in helping those that are putting this together to achieve what they set out to achieve. Please do well to note and fill up the forms, and the officials will take it afterwards. Thank you very much for your time. While we wait for Galaxy Backbone and our other guests from Alhaji Ogunleye, please let us also note that the panel discussion, of course, will be taking center stage, and there we'll be talking in depth on the theme for today. We also want to appreciate all our participants watching us online via all the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook. We appreciate you, and we say thank you very much for coming. I'm meant to understand that the president of NERA, Mr. Mohammed Rudman, will be speaking to us via Zoom when it's time for him. But sir, we called you earlier on. Please, a round of applause as you take your goodwill message. Please, let's appreciate. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. I'm standing in for Professor Mohammed B. Abubakar. He has extended his greetings and also congratulate the organizer of today's event. As we all know, the introduction of World Wide Web has revolutionized the application of computer and the internet. Through World Wide Web, we've been able to have access to a lot of benefits, either from the sharing of information, access to people across the world, access to a whole lot of information, and so on and so forth. Galaxy Backbone has also been in the forefront of supporting the usage of World Wide Web. At Galaxy, we have one of the best data center in Nigeria. Galaxy has also been in support of broadening the access to the World Wide Web through the lane of fibers. And again, Galaxy has also been in the forefront of adopting international best practice in delivering IT services that it is known for. So without taking much of our time, I want to, on behalf of our MD and the entire management and staff of Galaxy Backbone, congratulate the organizers of today's event. So we thank you.
Thank you very much, Galaxy Backbone, for those message. We appreciate you. Of course, up next we have Laji Ladi Ogunleye. He's the former president of the NCS. We invite him for his goodwill message. A round of applause for him, please.
You talked about dressing, right? Elders should not do that in the public. Good afternoon, everybody. Here primarily because of invitation of Dr. Bayero Agabi. I could have easily watched this in my house virtually. And I guess the day for congratulations to both myself and Dr. Agabi. Some 20 years ago, when I was president of Nigerian Computer Society, he was bubbling on AIT, Infotech on AIT. I don't know how many of you remember that. And then we recognized him as somebody with great potential. Congratulations, has not disappointed us. And for us that saw that in him then, I guess we should congratulate myself for that, and some of my colleagues in Nigerian Computer Society who saw in Infotech on AIT a medium for us to learn. I don't care how old you are. If you don't learn every day, you are going to be obsolete very soon. So we were learning from him. He will always come, practicalize all the things we all learned in school. Okay? And today he is still there. So, Dr. Bayero Agabi, congratulations. And for the celebration of World Wide Web today and the internet to our lives, my goodness, you wonder how we used to live in those days. Huh? And it's a good thing that Nigeria is catching on as well. I was telling somebody outside, in the banking sector, the leverage of IT that we do in Nigeria is one of the best in the world. Okay? We take it for granted. Use your POS anywhere. Before you leave the place, you see an alert. If you're going to get that in the US, you have to pay a lot for it. We take it for granted. Okay? And many areas like that. So all we want is for government to please give us more availability of the infrastructure of the internet. Give us more broadband so that wherever you are in the country, you're able to access the internet and make contributions. Thank you very much and congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir. Talking about internet availability, of course, we're at the center of it all, where some of these things will enable us. Even the latest has to do with the National Assembly talking about how we can vote from the comfort of our homes. Of course, if we have all of this sorted out, we won't be queuing, and there won't be need for them to be sharing tin tomatoes to people on the street to come and vote. So just sit there and do their stuff. Maybe, just maybe, they've actually not really trusted that medium so much. But of course, it has come to stay, the World Wide Web, and we just have to take advantage, which is why I'm looking forward to the presentations that will be done here today. Without wasting much of our time, we're going to move quickly to the keynote remarks. I'm meant to understand that most of our speakers will be talking to us via the internet. They are watching us online as we speak. We have virtual speakers, Mr. Olatayo Ladipo Ajayi, the country manager Infobip, represented by Irene Mije, Enterprise Accounts Manager, Infobip Nigeria. Also, Confidence Stavely, Executive Director, CyberSafe Foundation, will also be joining us virtually. But quickly on our keynote remark, first off, I want to call on Mr. Remy Adejumo. He's the CEO, Cloudflex. A round of applause for him, please. Please let's keep clapping as it comes. That's encouraging. Thank you, sir. He's also undressing.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I want to give standing on existing protocols, first of all, before I forget. I want to talk about the World Wide Web from my perspective. I run a cloud company here in Nigeria. We've been running for about 6 years. And I want to explain a bit about that and also use that as an example of the World Wide Web and the advantages of it. So when I say I run a cloud company, what we do is we provide infrastructure as a service. What do I mean by that? What I mean is that we provide virtual servers in lieu of you installing your computers in your offices. This is the most popular companies that provide this in the world are AWS and Azure. AWS has 40% of the market, Azure has 17%. And then you've got people like Google Cloud, Oracle Cloud, and things like that, and IBM Cloud coming up behind them. When you see, you look at it from their perspective, and that there's a huge growth area in terms of cloud companies and things like that in the world, and you look at Nigeria, we need it more than them, because one of the key things that we have as a problem is our power problem. So I was just thinking about it as I sat down, and I thought, the events and the issues in Nigeria has made us individuals. What I mean by that is that the problems of power means everybody tries to sort out their own power. The problems of water means everybody tries to sort out their own water. But when you look at it from a computing perspective, computing pushes more towards collaboration, and that is one of the missing ingredients for growth of technology in Nigeria. We don't do enough collaboration. And when you think from the context of collaboration, what we do and the service we provide provides an economy of scale. So because we provide virtual computers for you, and that is in lieu of you doing it yourself, we can do it much cheaper than you can do it yourself. I mean, the people who know best tell us that you have a total cost of ownership savings of up to 70% moving to the cloud rather than doing it yourself. So when you think in terms of that, but because of the way we think in Nigeria to say, look, I need this done, I'm not going to wait for anybody, I do it myself, rather than that collaborative spirit and then taking advantage of the economy of scale. So it's like if everybody in this room wanted to do something, it's cheaper if we do it as one, rather than each individual trying to do things themselves. That's what I mean by that economy of scale. And I think that's such an important concept for us to understand. And if you look at it, that's what the whole philosophy of the World Wide Web is about. It's not owned by anyone. It wasn't set up for any particular person's gain. But today we all take advantage and we profit from it by the fact of its existence. So when you look at it, without the World Wide Web, we wouldn't have the growth of cloud and what we have today. And the essence of it and the benefits of it is that for people, it makes the world smaller. So when you look at it both on a personal and global scale, it means that we get information, we get things done from across the world. I think the last year of the COVID, and as somebody had said, our enforced holiday, showed us the advantages of it. Can you imagine what the world would have been without the World Wide Web in the fact that we were confined to individual countries? Look at the growth of Zoom. That sits on top of that whole infrastructure to say we can talk to people, even our loved ones that were not close to us. We were kept up being able to keep in touch with them by this medium that's there. So when you think of all the aspects of it, I think this is one of the most important facets, both of technology, of life, of our well-being, and of our social interaction. And it's really, really important to understand the significance of today and this celebration, that this is one of the foundations of our well-being and the growth of humanity, that we have something like this available that gives us a lot of tools and things that we can use in there. So when you look, I mean, what we're doing at the advances of technology, we hear the terms, but we take advantage of what's going on, but we've got to realize of where we're going with this. So I just want to look a bit into the future, having talked about the past. So the key things that people talk about is the artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, and things like that. What all that is saying is a way of making our life a bit more comfortable, that tasks that take a lot of time and effort from us, we can automate it and make life simpler and have things done. We see things like that in terms of when you're on the internet and you do some searches for things you want to shop on. Subsequent to that, you keep seeing adverts of those things that you've searched for in there. So you have the same thing in terms of what a lot of banks are doing now and other companies in terms of chatbots, where when you go online, even where you're trying to pay a bill or something, you're actually not talking to people, but you're actually being responded to by a computer. I personally have been enamored, and I use the Amazon version of the artificial intelligence machine learning in terms of Alexa, and I enjoy Alexa quite a lot. It's a little device that you connect to the internet. What I use it for when I'm working, I can listen to any radio station or listen to things that I want to hear. I can ask information, the weather, set an alarm, and everything is done by voice activation. I mean, one of the ones I found rather interesting is that you can even create like a shopping list. And also, because we don't have that sort of advancement of our e-commerce, we've not got there, but we are doing a good job in the e-commerce thing in terms of Konga and Jumia and what they're doing. But what you have is you have a situation like where you can create a shopping list and you can just talk to your Alexa device and you can order things and have it delivered without any physical interaction. So it's fascinating. And when one of the things I've been doing over this past year is a reflection of looking at the different times, what it was like in my childhood, what it was like at my time in school, and what it's like now in terms of the facilities we have and the ease of doing things. One of the ones that was that I found actually quite amazing was during the lockdown, my computer crashed. I used a MacBook, and I went online to order a new one. And at the time I was ordering it, it was 1 o'clock American time, and I placed my order. I used my card to pay for the computer, and the computer was meant to be delivered to the shippers for me. And I notified the shippers to please expect my computer. They told me that it would be delivered on the same day. I was amazed that, and they gave me a time slot that it would be delivered between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., and this was 1 p.m. when I was ordering it. This computer was delivered at 1:20. It took 20 minutes from the time I placed my order for it physically to be delivered from from whichever the nearest warehouse to my shippers. So my shippers got my box in 20 minutes. I was actually quite amazed at the ability of that technology. And for me, it just tells us of things to come, that if we use technology properly, even in this part of the world, it can make our lives so much easier, and it can benefit us in so many ways. So I think the things that are not lacking in that, I think these are things that will be discussed in the panel in terms of what are the sort of hindrances, what are the things that are not allowing us to take full advantage of the World Wide Web and to benefit from it in such ways and to be able to make our lives easier. And it also makes our lives cheaper so that we're able to do things faster, cheaper, be able to compare, even be able to find things. I mean, I use the World Wide Web to find things, to find people, to look for places. I mean, if I'm looking for something particular, I mean, like now, even I use Instagram. If I'm looking for something particular to eat or something that I like, I go on Instagram and I can find a vendor that does the stuff that I do. So you find something like 10 years ago, you were not able to do that, but you're able to do things like that now. So for each and every one of us, whatever our particular sort of needs or comforts are, there are things available that we can use such platforms to our benefits and to be able to do things like that for ourselves. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Remi Adejimo of Cloudflex, for that. He spoke about the philosophy of the World Wide Web that is not owned by anyone, but is beneficial to all. And, of course, the magic of you getting your computer in less than 20 minutes is really fantastic. But the downside of it, you know, these days we get to see what you ordered versus what you got, especially for females. If you're in the house and you've been affected by that, let me see your hand. You see a beautiful thing on net, and of course you pay and do all of that, and when it gets to you, it's nothing like what you ordered. But that's part of the fun anyway. The good thing is that, yes, we can shop and do everything at the tip of our fingertips. Thank you very much, Mr. Remi, for that. Up next, so we'll be taking a next keynote remark via the internet. Mr. Mohammed Rudman is on standby to connect to us. If you're ready, sir, can you hear us? We also the country rep, Mr. Olatayo Ladipo Ajayi of Infobib, also on standby to give us the keynote via Zoom. Hi, can you hear us? He can, but we can't hear him. Okay, if you can hear me, we're just trying to fix your audio from our end. Please bear with us. Please say something. Can you hear me, Mr. Rudman? Say something. You might want to check your audio. We can't hear you, but it seems you can hear us. Say something.
Fantastic. Hello, can you hear me now? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear him and he can't hear us. Can you hear me now, sir?
Okay, I can hear you now. I was actually muted by the admin. I couldn't unmute.
Oh, so sorry about that. So sorry about that.
I couldn't unmute, so it was that was the issue. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah,
now it's okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes, we can hear you loud and clear. You ready?
Yes, okay. But thank you so much for the patience for the people that are out there. First of all is to congratulate CECAD, Center for Cyber Awareness and Development, for this wonderful initiative on bringing various stakeholders to discuss the issues around the World Wide Web, you know, and Bayero Agabi in particular and his team for putting up this event together. I don't know how many minutes I have for this so that I don't go and delve into the discussions. If you don't mind, how many minutes do I have? Hello? So that I'll be guided.
5 minutes, 5 minutes.
Oh, 5 minutes, yes. Okay. Thank you. I'll try and round it off in 5 minutes.
Thank you.
For me, you know, most of the speakers have mentioned so much opportunities that were unlocked by the World Wide Web and by the internet in general. And usually, you know, in discussions like this and in this fora, I think we need to find a way to focus on what are the real challenges that are facing us here in Nigeria right now, and how do we use technology to address those issues. And as you know now, we said we're living in a VUCA world. The VUCA world stands for volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous world, where things are really upside down. Most of these things are caused by so many different factors. But in Nigeria in particular, for example, the government have identified 9 areas of focus by the Buhari administration. And if you narrow down the 9 areas of focus, are usually 3 priority areas: the economy, the security, and the fight against corruption. So if you narrow down these three areas of focus, there is a common denominator between these 3 areas of focus of government. The economy, for example, how do you boost the economy? You need productivity. You need the human capital development. you need to empower people with knowledge so that they can participate in the economy. If the economy grows, the security improves. But if the economy is slowing down and there are issues, that's why we see the high rise of insecurity in Nigeria, is because of the economy. The more you fight Boko Haram, the bandits, and the rest, the more they recruit thousands of other individuals. Somebody shared a video today with me this morning in Kano, where they are sharing, I think, 500 naira to some women, and they are in thousands. So it's hunger and poverty that creates the problem of insecurity. It's not the total thing, but if you solve the economy to some extent, you solve substantial part of the security. In terms of fighting corruption, it's almost the same thing. If everybody is doing well, hardly will people be corrupt. So the common denominator among all these things, honestly, is unemployment. And unemployment is there. Education is the key. Every country that grows in the world right now is in terms of research and development, which is driven by education. Without education, you can't have research and development. And that's why you see countries that are investing in this. For example, with COVID-19, they are inventing the various, antivirus drugs and antiviral drugs for the COVID-19 and all other diseases in their countries. So without education, we'll be left behind. But that education, for me, internet is critical, it's important. It has to be available. Even it has to also be affordable, because substantial part of Nigerians, for example, if you are to put 4G across Nigeria right now, how many people can afford the data bundle? How many people can afford the devices to browse that? So let's assume that you solve the problem of availability and affordability. You have another issue of accessibility. A lot of people cannot speak English language, and by default, people that can only speak Igbo and Yoruba and Hausa language cannot participate on the internet. So we need to find a way to make it accessible. And I'm rounding up this to say that education is the key. So government should find a way to quickly find innovative ways of creating local content in local languages, especially for primary and secondary education. If you have people that can read and write, you can give them access to information and you can guide them. In this age of fake news and all this bad information, internet, of course, is a tool. It can be used with a double-edged sword. It can be used for the good and it can be used for the bad. So I think what we should focus in as a country, honestly, is to find innovative ways to educate our children and our populace using local languages, using local content that will be hosted locally and that will be affordable. I think that's my own area of say, okay, let's reflect and find out really what can we use with this technology to solve most of our problems. And most of these problems, if you narrow down, as I said, the common denominator is education. And the only way to jumpstart education is to use technology, because as Nigeria, as a government, cannot afford build all the secondary schools. There are right now, I think, is it 20,000, they said, secondary schools in Nigeria, and they are not sufficient. And you have more than 10 million children that are out of school. So you can't build all the schools in Nigeria with brick and mortar. To get the right teachers, to train them, giving them the right capacity building to teach. The best solution is to have, online learning. As we can see now with COVID-19, a lot of children are now learning online, and I think we can expand this to reach out to all the areas of Nigeria so that we can train our population. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope I am not more than 5 minutes. Thank you.
You're right on time. Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed Rudman, President NIRA, for that short but precise keynote there. Well, it's mentioned of all the areas of focus of any government: economy, security, corruption, and all of that, with the common denominator being education. This, of course, with all of this, getting the much needed attention it needs, we might just be moving forward as a nation. Remember that someone pointed out earlier on, the World Wide Web is over 30 years old. And there's one thing the founder, Berners-Lee, spoke to us about, that he has a warning, and he said the fight for the web is one of the most important causes of our time in all of the good, bad, and ugly nature that comes with the World Wide Web. How we harnessing all of this for good is key, and this is what we're looking at today. Please, a round of applause one more time for Mohammed Woodman for that. Last on a keynote remark, we have Olatayo Ladipo Ajayi, a country representative in Infobip. He'll be speaking to us via the internet again, and after that, we'll delve straight into the panel session. Is Mr. Olatayo online? Okay, while we're waiting to connect with Mr. Olatayo, please join me to make welcome Mr. Tokumbo Smith, is an advocate data privacy that is in partnership with NIDA. Just walked in while that speech was on by Mr. Mohammed. Please, a round of applause. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you for your presence. Is Mr. Olatayo ready? Can you hear us, ma'am? We have the representative of the country manager, Irene Omije, his enterprise accounts manager for Infobip. He'll be speaking on behalf of Mr. Olatayo. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. Okay.
All right.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to turn on my video so that you can see my face, but I have a presentation to share. I would like to thank you for joining this session. Let me share my screen so that I can, bring up my presentation. Oh, there's no screen sharing available.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay, great.
Please go ahead.
Okay, hello everybody. Good morning. I would like to thank you for joining this session. My name is Irene Omije with Infobip. I hope everyone is feeling comfortable and you can hear me loud and clear. So, we live in an increasingly digital world. The world has gone extremely digital from what we used to know it. 5 years ago, no one would have imagined the possibilities and the impact the internet will have in our lives. The ability for seamless communication between people, gadgets, and processes across different industries, be it in the financial industry, e-commerce, healthcare, agriculture, education, and even governance. Everything has some form of digital footprint, right? And so this brings me to my topic of today, which is improving digital economy through seamless customer engagement and customer experience. Before we start, I would like to say who we are and what we do for those who don't know Infobip. Right? Infobip is a global cloud communication provider. We provide omnichannel platforms that enable organizations to communicate with their customers across different channels, be it SMS, email, voice, chat, bots, WhatsApp, even across social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook Messenger, and whatever you. To be able to deliver consistent customer experience in a fast, secure, and reliable way through customers' preferred channels. And some of the benefits of the solution we provide in this digital age is reach. We provide channels that everyone uses on their mobile phones. We also provide channels that give instant delivery. So depending on the quality of your service provider, you will receive delivery in a matter of seconds. Time critical information like your OTPs or transaction SMS, what have you. We also provide channel of preference. And what that means is the younger generation probably like to communicate via WhatsApp or chatbots, but the older generation will rather communicate via phone call or SMS. So we provide those channels available to organizations to be able to engage their customers. We also provide channels that give you high open rates. Statistics has shown that most messages are read between minutes of receiving them. So you're able to engage your customer quickly and effectively. Part of the vision of InfoBip is to create seamless and life-changing interaction between businesses, people, and things. Today, our platform is used by over 60% of the world population, and our connections have reached at least 7 billion people. I can say that everyone on this call today, excuse me, has had to use InfoBip service one way or the other, whether it's receiving an OTP from the bank or your transaction SMS, or whether it's you booking an Uber or getting marketing messages, from the like of them, Domino's and Co. So everyone has had to interact with InfoBip services. Now, we find out what are the key challenges for businesses in today's digital age. The first challenge we see is customer reach and customer engagement, and then authentication and security, support and retention. When we talk about customer engagement, we know that over the years, customers have been plagued with mediocre customer service, right? So, and in this day of digitization, customers like us, everyday customers, expect efficient and personalized interactions with your brands or with the companies you liaise with through your preferred platform or through your preferred channels. So to meet this challenge, InfoBip provides simple, secure communication solutions to engage your customers in a relevant and timely way, and also personalize interactions with your customers through any platform that they prefer. So for instance, if you want to simplify sign-up and onboarding processes through automated form filling, or send critical alerts and OTPs, or just generally give special offers and general notification, InfoBip provides those channels that will help you to build customer engagement. And when we talk about authentication and security, we talk about providing, better security goes hand in hand with efficient business performance. So InfoBip helps to provide an extra layer of that security that enables businesses to protect their customers' accounts. So for instance, the two-factor authentication and payment authentication, we provide those services or those solutions for customers. And then the last one is support and retention. What do we mean by support and retention? We are providing solutions like automated chatbots. Mr. Remy spoke on automated chatbots just a while ago. We provide solutions like automated chatbots that help to reduce resolution time. So for repetitive queries, redundant issues, and also things like frequently asked questions, branch location, all those things that don't need physical interaction with an agent, we provide a chatbot that will solve that problem. And then also in the same vein, if a customer needs to have a deeper engagement with a brand, say you have some complex queries and you want to speak to an agent, we can hand you off to a digital contact center solution where your agents can sit anywhere, anytime, and provide support through all the popular channels we know, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, and what have you. So I find out that these solutions help organizations to personalize customer experience, to save time and money, as well as improve operational efficiency. So our next slide basically talks about what is the foundational element of a digital economy and the role that InfoBip plays to contribute to economic development. We all know about what happened during the COVID-19, the whole of last year, where offices were shut down, everybody was working remotely, and everything happened virtually. So in the past 1 year, we've seen a sizable shift in digital transformation that has made digital platforms, like the kind of service or the solution we provide, more at the core of digital economy. So we saw that during the COVID-19 pandemic, a lot of organizations had to catalyze and speed up initiatives for businesses to digitize, provide digital platforms, and also digital means of communication. So these platforms help companies to create value to customers through accessible means of communication, which is mostly our mobile phones and our laptops or our computers, right? It also helps customers and companies to be more agile with technology and tech-enabled solutions. So you see that in this entire ecosystem, InfoBip stands as a leader and a digital platform provider where we help businesses with a critical part of their digital transformation, journey, so that to ensure continuity in business, even in this virtual and digital age. So we had rapid increase for requests for digital contact center solutions to enable remote engagement with customers and partners. We've also seen an increase in online services in the last 1 year, significant increase in online services. Mr. Remy was talking about sitting down in his home from the luxury of his home and ordering his MacBook. So we've seen retail shoppers sit in the luxury of their homes and shop anywhere in the world and have their deliveries sent to them at their doorstep. Also of significance in the health sector is to note that during the COVID-19 pandemic, the NCDC launched our WhatsApp chatbots to be able to engage Nigerians about all information that had to do with curtailing the spread of the coronavirus. So we see that there are lots of simple redundant tasks and information that can be automated with chatbots. So not only does it take the workload off your employees or your contact center agents, it also makes things quicker. So ultimately, organizations, companies, and brands need to adapt to digitization to provide a unique customer experience, satisfactory customer service, and allocate resources so that there's more productivity. And finally, on my last slide, I would just like to talk about the biggest user of digital platform in today's age, Uber. We all know about Uber and how Uber has digitalized all interactions end-to-end at different touch points in the customer journey, right? When we talk about from registration to authentication through SMS, ordering a cab and paying for ride is seamless, easy, and can be done on the mobile phone. So their biggest interface is their app, where you get to book a cab, you choose a destination and you see your driver. Along the way, you're also able to track and send information through different channels, digital channels. Also, we see that payments is digital. And after that, you can then leave feedback on their app. Everything from end to end is digital. So this is all done through the power of the internet, technology, and basically digitization. So that's all from here. Thank you very much, everyone. That brings me to the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Merino Mije, Enterprise Accounts Manager for Infobip, for that keynote. Well, that being said, they've set the ball rolling, and this time we'll be moving quickly to the panel discussion, where, of course, we'll take it a notch further, and we always implore that while that is going on, our questions, recommendations, and comments can be scribbled down. And when the time comes, of course, we'll call for that so that we can all share in the conversation, especially for those watching us online. You can also be part of the conversation. Like I said, we had to do this so that the bulk of people joining us are doing that online, because we needed to just observe all of the COVID-19 protocols. So please do well to type in your comments in the comment section, your questions, as the panelists deal decisively with the topic on ground. Again, the topic is the World Wide Web, creating opportunities for a new African digital economy. And of course, to do us the honors of delving deep into this in no particular order, please join me to make welcome Mr. Tony Ojobo. He is a seasoned brand communicator, regulation specialist, and public speaker with over 30 years experience in the public and private organizations in the ICT sector. He was a former director of public affairs, Nigeria Communications Commission. Tony Ojobo is the current president of the African ICT Foundation and co-founder of TechX Innovation Hub. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me to make welcome Mr. Tony Ojobo. Nina Wakama, who will be joining us online. She is a web advocate. She's the Africa Regional Coordinator of the World Wide Web Foundation. She is involved in policy and systemic changes that are needed for meaningful internet access, open data, open government, and open web across Africa, bringing together local and international stakeholders to advance the digital agenda. She has over 15 years of experience working with the United Nations systems in human rights, information society, gender, data, digital equality, and sustainable development. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, please, a round of applause for Nina Wakama as she joins us online. We also have joining us online, Confidence Stavely. She is a cybersecurity specialist, ethical hacker, and literacy advocate. She is the country manager, Nigeria, for DIGISS LLC, a multinational cybersecurity consulting services company. She is the founder of CyberSafe Foundation, through which she contributes to social issues via her initiative No Go Fall MAGA campaign, which is backed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. Confidence has been nominated Top 50 Women in Cybersecurity Africa 2020, and recently the first Nigerian finalist of Cybersecurity Women Award among her accolades. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, please a warm round of applause for Confidence Stavely. Up next is Tinuade Uguntuyi. She is a seasoned information technologist, currently the head core network and solutions at Information Connectivity Solutions Limited. She has over a decade experience in diverse industries, including oil and gas, financial, education, government, energy, and tech hubs. She is an award recipient of the Outstanding Promoter of ICT for National Development. A round of applause for Tinuade Uguntuyi as she comes on stage. Of course, she's joining us live here. We also have Dr. Adebola Olajide. He is the Chief Technology Officer and Partner at Home Plus Medicare Services Limited. He is the founder and president Society for Telemedicine and E-Health in Nigeria. Dr. Olajide was the team physician for the under-23 male football team at the Beijing Olympic Games. He specializes in digital health, e-health consultancy services, project design, and workforce capacity building. Please join me to make welcome Dr. Adebola Olajide. Up next, we have Wale Kalejaye. He is a certified network specialist. He's the MD CEO of Impulse Technologies Limited, Canada, an alumni of London South Bank University. He has worked at Reuters Financial Software and has more than 25 years experience in design and implementation of network infrastructure. He is the initiator of Nigerian think tank group NTTG Worldwide. Kalejaye is a recipient of the prestigious Titans of Technology Awards Nigeria and Africa Digital Heroes Award, amongst others. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Dr. Adebola Olajide. Next, we have Oloye Harrison, a business development director. He's skilled in network security, digital security, ICT consultancy, automation, and telecommunications. A co-founder of Circuit City Mall and CEO of Nextrick Solutions Limited. He's also an alumni of City University of New York, Queens College, and Ondo State University. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Oloye Harrison. Please, let's give him a round of applause. We just had to abridge some of these profiles because of time. Kunle Idowu, popularly known as Frank Donga, the only man that started off undressing himself before addressing us this morning. He's an award-winning actor, comedian, digital content creator, and communicator. His professional career in the media started as a producer, reporter, and news anchor at Network News 24, a CNN affiliate. He also worked as director of photography, editor, animator, and promo producer at both Television Continental, TVC, and Daniel TV in Lagos, Nigeria. He constantly uses his platform as an edutainer for advocacy, social justice, civic education, and philanthropy. His use of humor with social commentary is well documented. Frank teaches several master classes and constantly speaks at universities, film festivals, and career programs on how to excel in the creative industry in Nigeria. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Frank Donga. Up next is our panel moderator, and I'll leave the job of introducing our lead speaker for this event to the panel moderator. Of course, our lead speaker is none other than the president of ATCON, Engineer Ikechukwu Namani. But up next is Peter Oluka. He is the editor of Tech Economy, a digital news website. He has worked as an IT aviation correspondent at the Nigeria Communications Week and at Nigeria News Direct. He is an ambassador of Nigeria Internet Registration Association, NIRA. He is a speechwriter and PR strategist. He's a co-partner at Digital PR Wire. Guests, ladies and gentlemen, our panel moderator for this afternoon, Peter Oluka of Tech Economy. A round of applause for him, please. In the next 30 to 35 or 40 minutes thereabouts, Peter Oluka will be moderating this segment, and he, of course, was the honors of introducing the lead speaker to the stage. A round of applause for him one more time.
Yes, can we appreciate Louisa? Can we appreciate Louisa? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, before I continue, permit me to introduce or welcome to the stage Engineer Ikechukwu Namani, who is the president of Association of Telecommunication Companies of Nigeria, ATCON. He is the lead speaker for this session. It's a core vision of bridging the digital divide between nations. He integrates technology for practical solutions. Engineer Namani focuses on implementing the core network infrastructure that promotes, develops, and distributes local content and ensures a high quality of service is delivered to the subscriber at affordable price. Good to welcome you, sir. Thank you, the panel, and thank you for those joining us virtually. And also, our guests, I want to appreciate you for coming this very day. Let's go this way. Have you ever found yourself saying, where will I be without the internet? You know, this is something that a lot of people remark all of the time. This is especially the case when you have an unexpected internet outage and you can't get online. The World Wide Web has made it possible to do so many things that we are simply not possible or achievable before now. So I think today, the founder of World Wide Web, Satim Benali, you know where he is now, he'll be happy with us because to celebrate this auspicious day is very important and to remind ourselves where we are going and where we are coming from. You know, as of January this year, we have 4.66 billion active internet users worldwide, representing 59% of the global population. And out of that number, 4.32 billion access the internet via the mobile devices. And in Nigeria, according to the Nigerian Communications Commission, we have about over 140 million internet subscriptions in Nigeria. And so COVID or no COVID, the World Wide Web continues to impact our economies. So we shall be looking at the World Wide Web, creating opportunities for a new African digital economy. And I have these great men and women who will be doing justice to this topic. Without wasting much of our time, ladies and gentlemen, permit me for us to get rolling. Let me welcome the lead speaker to come and give us his speech before we continue.
Good morning once again. The presentation, I don't know how you're going to project it though, because there is a presentation that's supposed to be projected. And it's like the projector is off, so for some of us sitting behind, I don't know how they're going to watch. The guys close by should be fine. I see some screens, but we'll see. Okay. Once more, standing on existing protocol, I appreciate what Dr. Bayero and the team has done, and I've continued to do over the years. This is it's a welcome development. Earlier on, they were asking me during one of the press interviews, what am I expecting to get out of this event? And I said, it's knowledge. I come here for knowledge because if you look at the panel we have here, there's no way any one of us will leave here without gaining some very, very vital information. And that for me is one of the main reasons I always make a time to come. So are we able to put up the presentation so I can at least? Just 1 second. We are moving from 2G to 5G, so you guys just be patient with us. Is the process. Okay. Okay. I think I can see stuff here. Yeah. Is that a PowerPoint? So if it is, just put it in slides. Yeah, okay. For those of us that can, I don't know, can most of us see the presentation, the slides? If you can, I'll be very brief and fast. I'll just point out a few things. As I said, I will take advantage of the fact that we've had great speakers already that have explained some of the concepts of World Wide Web, Internet, the digital economy, and then I will also take advantage of the fact that I know the speakers we have in the panel would also be doing a lot of justice to this. The first thing I want to point out here is an appreciation of the three core words we've seen being used interchangeably. One is World Wide Web, then the Internet, and then the digital economy. It is important to understand the difference between the three of them and how they are all linked together. Because if we understand that, then it helps us to move to the core of our subject matter, which is World Wide Web, creating opportunities for a new African digital economy. The Internet is the global system of interconnected computers that chooses internet protocol and some other means of communication between networks and devices. Now, the World Wide Web is one of the medium under which information stored on the internet can be accessed. I think it's good we understand that there are multiple ways to access information on the internet, and the World Wide Web is one of them. Now, the digital economy, on the other hand, simply is using digital technologies to run the economy, and this cuts across all aspects of the economy, irrespective of whether it's governance, finance, every part of it, you know. So if we get the link between the three of them, it helps us a bit. The second page, if you can roll the presentation, is the transformation that we've gone through, the stages of transformation we've gone through, because we need to understand where we are in the phase. We started from what is basically called 2G, and if you check, that was where communication started as we know it over the years. This focused mainly on people, ability of people to communicate, to exchange messages, to talk to each other. At this phase, we focus mainly on basically just making phone calls and eventually using SMS and other means of data, but mainly for people. Then you got to the 3G world, and this is when the web, as we know it, became very predominant. People being able to do transactions and access information using the web. Web pages were set up, people set up different types for commerce, for education, for health, and eventually we saw a great deal that has evolved to e-business, digital marketing, and the rest of this. At this time, communication has gone just beyond people being able to talk to non-businesses being run within using communication as a tool. Then eventually you've moved to the 4G world, which now you've gone just beyond people, business to things. You no longer look at communication the way it used to be. The major use of communication drastically reduced to the extent that people just making phone call became the least of what you use communication for. It has evolved more into things and businesses evolving. And today we are talking of the 5G world, where you're not just only combining people and things, but you are now looking at smart machines. You are now looking at smart world. Internet of Things has now become the buzzword. And what has all this evolved? How has the world moved? If you can move to the next slide, you see that I just put together what currently is listed as happens every 1 minute on the internet. What you see from 2020 to 2021 is that these things have increased. It has evolved, right? So even your web browsing, from your traditional web browsing, you notice that it has become a smaller part of the other things you do on the internet. And that is why we need to understand the evolution, that web browsing has become a small part of what we do on the internet. It's still a very important and significant part, but the digital world has moved so far that you now do a lot of things, even using your apps. For instance, let me give a simple example. Some of us are accessing this event using Zoom. Now, you are accessing Zoom from two aspects. Some, you have the Zoom app, so you've installed it on either your devices or you've installed it on your laptops. Some are accessing it through the internet, through the World Wide Web, as we call it, okay? I've had cases where I've had to use both. In some cases, you notice that on one particular platform, it doesn't work well, but if you switch to the other, it works better. So these things coexist, but it's important. But the most important thing out of this is to understand that we've moved to a digital world, and it's here to stay, and it's no longer the future. Back in the days, we used to talk of the future. The digital world is the present. It's no longer the future. And if we are not mindful of that and we don't do things that we need to do, we'll be left behind. Next slide. I'm trying to run through the slides so that I can get to the lead point I want to talk about. Next slide, if you don't mind. It talks about the differences, and we need to understand where things are between your traditional economy and your digital economy. How have things evolved? Back in the days, and we are not too far from Ilupeju Industrial Estate and the Ikeja Industrial Estate, there was a time everything has to do with the size of the building, the facility you've built, okay? And that was what was seen to be the economy at that time. Creation of big factories for manufacturing and the rest of it. Suddenly, if you've been following the news, especially since this year, some of the biggest investment we've discussed coming into Nigeria has come in the area of data centers. There are some millions, hundreds of millions of dollars being invested in building new data centers, even in Lagos as we speak. At least I know of 3 or 4 of those projects running into a minimum of $100 million each. Now, you notice that is if you look at the economy, it has evolved. So people still build factories, but now we are building technology factories. Okay, so gone are the days where you do your brick and mortar. It has gone digital. Back in the days, if you want to buy anything, you have to go to Idumota, Balogu. Now, most of us, I doubt if some of us have visited those markets in a long time, but you still get the same things you traditionally would have done over there just by shopping online. Okay, I know many people that I have not gone to your traditional market for a long, long time. Anything I want to buy, I just go online and it's delivered to me. You pay for it, it's delivered, right? So shopping has also changed. I was talking to somebody, I was talking of newspaper subscription. Back in the days, if you come to my office, you see big piles of newspaper. Every day we buy bunch and bunch and bunch of these papers, right? Today, we don't do that anymore. We've subscribed for the online versions. We've subscribed for business. A lot of this is online. So it's delivered to your mailbox on a daily basis, right? So you've seen all those changes. The same thing with banking. We've gone from traditional, everybody goes stand at the bank just to do stuff, to now e-banking. The same thing with schools, e-learning and the rest of it. Before COVID, okay, these things were happening. COVID just accelerated them to the next level. The same thing, in one of the recent conference I was speaking, I indicated that in my company, Medallion, since I think either March last year, we've not had the staff work in the office. They've been working remotely. Initially, it started from COVID. We were trying to follow the COVID compliance from the government. But guess what? I suddenly realized that even after COVID, our staff were more efficient working from the homes than in the office. Why? Most of them live very far, Ikorodu and all that. And by the time they spend 4 hours coming to the island, they spend 2 hours to sleep and recover from the traffic. That is already 6 hours. They now work for 1 or 2 hours, go for break, then they start the journey back. By the time they come the next day, they are tired. So we suddenly found out that the productivity rate of our staff, it may not be the same for every company, but for the business we do, our staff are actually more productive working remotely than the way they were working in the past. So when COVID restrictions were lifted, we took a decision that staff should just work from the home. So as we're speaking, all our staff are still working from the home. Up till now, and it has reached to more productivity from what we can basically see. I can go on and on, but the reality is that the world have changed. What has become viable in terms of assets in the past has changed. Now, if you don't have digital assets as part of your portfolio, you are not rich. You can be, you can have access to money, but it's not to the level of people that have access to this, okay? Now, let me go to the 2 major slides I want to talk about. If you can roll the slides to page 7 and then page 8, because this is what is key here. Okay? This is from the World Economic Forum. We've moved from World Wide Web to the digital economy web. And it's important we understand this, because if we are to become viable, if we are to become part of the digital age, we need to understand the interlinking that has taken place globally and how the world is now structured. There is a new web, but it's gradually moving from your traditional World Wide Web as being the main thing to the new digital web, where all these things are connected from business, data, digital infrastructure, digital transformation of organizations and countries. COVID is a major part of the ecosystem. And then stakeholders capitalization, right? And this is what is called the digital economy value creation. Now, all this is linked together because at the outer rim, you see all the building blocks that creates this new digital economy, and they're all linked together in form of a web. From global health, workforce and employment, human rights, future of healthcare, public finance, data science, you name it. Again, this is very extensive. I won't go into all that. We can talk more a little bit during the panel sections. But the reality is that there is a new web that has been formed, and it is the digital web. And if we are not playing in it, if we don't understand it, we won't take advantage of the opportunities that now exist. This is the future that we are now living in, and it's good to understand it. If you go to the next slide, which I think should be the second to the last one, how does this affect Africa? The same thing, just as you have on the global level, on the African level, we also have the new digital web for Africa. This has to do with Africa agriculture and innovation, leveraging renewable energy for Africa, regional cooperation across Africa. Our brother is going to be talking a little bit about that, I'm sure, because he runs the organization that deals with Africa integration. Secure Africa, security, what are the building blocks that secures Africa? And then driving Africa's growth and transforming Africa. Again, you see on the bigger circle, all the building blocks that makes this happen, issues about the future of energy, biodiversity, Africa response to COVID, workforce, security, innovation, and the rest of it. Now, what are the challenges facing the World Wide Web and digital economy? dark web. There is a second web out there that most of us don't know about, and realistically, we should not know about it, or we should not get involved. It's called the dark web. The same way we all operate in the, let me call it light web now, if I may choose that phrase, which is the one we are all used to. There is a dark web out there that is growing. It's a dark side of the world that has all kinds of issues going on there. Fake news is a major challenge, which we've all talked about. You don't know what is true anymore. You receive information, you pass it across, and you don't know if it's true or not. You only find out after the fact that what you've just spread is actually not accurate, and it's a major challenge. Now, the combination of all this has led to censorship, both from government standpoint and from institutions, because in the process of trying to control wrong information or fake news, we are now seeing some elements of censorship, which unfortunately goes directly against the purpose of the internet and the World Wide Web. At the foundation of these two is openness to information. But when you're not seeing censorship from a state or various elements in response to the dark web or fake news, then it's a challenge on its own that must be addressed. Now, at the heart of all this is cybersecurity. I'm happy there's some form being shared. It's a project I'm also part of where we do the annual cybersecurity report. I will still encourage all of us to fill out that form, and then hopefully when the report is out. And by the way, this report, we've been doing it for many years, is for free. Nobody pays for it. I'm sure most of us here should have gotten previous copies of the report. It's always given out for free. So it's purely for education and information purpose. And I think I see Mrs. Beatrice, who runs that event. She's also here. Mrs. Beatrice, can you wave? Let them recognize you. Yeah, she runs the cybersecurity report. Please, let's encourage them by filling out that form and make sure it happens. So again, I'm going to let the other speakers speak, and then I should be ready to respond to some of the questions that we have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we continue, please let me call to the stage Mr. Harrison Oloye. He was not here when he was introduced. Please come to the stage. Can you welcome him, please? Okay, as we are continuing, I want to take one of the contributors, Nena. I want to take her online so that she can make a contribution before we welcome Mr. Ojobo to give us his own presentation. Just very brief because of our time. Is she online? Hello, ma, can you hear us? Hello, can you hear us, ma? Has she connected with us?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yes. Thank you, ma. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
Thank you very much. I can hear, and I've been following. How many minutes do I have, please?
Okay. 3 minutes is okay. 3 minutes, please. Because of our time, please make it 3 minutes, please.
All right. Thank you, everyone. That's okay by me. Thank you for having me. My name is Nena Wakama. I'm no longer the Africa Regional Coordinator. I'm the Chief Web Advocate at the World Wide Web Foundation. It's an honor for me to be here. And I want to thank those in Nigeria for taking time out to celebrate today. For the 2.5 minutes, I'd like to focus on 3 things. And that is why the World Wide Web was created, where the World Wide Web is today, and where we see the World Wide Web going tomorrow. I listened to the keynotes and the major speakers, and I want to say thank you for your contribution already. Why was the World Wide Web created? If I want to cite Tim Berners-Lee very well, he says, in one word, for everyone. And so that hashtag for everyone is still alive today. The reason the World Wide Web was created was to offer a technology platform for everyone to access, to use, and to contribute. So every time we speak about the World Wide Web, you need to ask yourself, does everyone have access? Is everyone able to contribute? Is everyone able to use it? So access, use, and contribution are the major reasons why the web was created, again, for everyone. So as long as we don't have everyone connected to the World Wide Web, as long as we don't have everyone able to use it, capacity to use digital technical infrastructure, all of that is part of our concern. And everyone able to contribute, having the skills, having the laws, having the means to contribute. So that's my first thing I want to lay down to everyone listening to us. The reason the World Wide Web was created is for everyone to access it, to use it, and to contribute to it. Where is the World Wide Web today? We have half the population who are online, so we still have a whole lot. But after the pandemic, or during this pandemic we are all in, we've seen that the World Wide Web is no longer luxury, it is a lifeline. If you're not existent on the web today, it's as if you do not exist in reality. And so one of the things we want to call our attention to is that we at the Web Foundation, and that is part of my role within the UN, is to ensure and advocate for the World Wide Web access to the internet to be a basic human right. Because without the internet, without access to the web today, you could hardly school, you can hardly train, you could hardly teach, you could hardly work, you could hardly do any banking. And I think the earlier speakers have mentioned the digital economy and even the future economy. So for us, where we are today is that the World Wide Web is no longer a luxury, is no longer a northern versus southern, poor versus rich thing. No, we think the time has come for access to the internet and access to the World Wide Web to be a basic human right. Where do we want to go? So first, we know why the web was created, where we are today. Where do we want to go? From the World Wide Web Foundation, we want to go further than where we are today. We want the digital economy to be that which will benefit everyone. We want citizen space to be that which will be powered by the World Wide Web. We would like governance to be powered by the World Wide Web. We'd like governments to use it to keep in contact with their citizens, but also citizens to use the World Wide Web to solve their own problems and the problems of other people. We would like the World Wide Web to contribute to security offline and online, and to be the building rock for the respect, the promotion, and the protection of human rights. Once again, my name is Nenna. I come from the internet, and I'd like to remind us that the World Wide Web is for everyone. Bringing you greetings from Sir Tim Berners-Lee. He's cool. He's not traveling as before. We're not traveling as before. And he sends his greetings to all of you. Thank you, Nigeria, for hosting us. And as normal, I'll see you online. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this great contribution. Thank you. You know, I wanted to ask you about that remark you made some other time in the past about Nigeria having should have digital leadership and not hustler mentality. But you have also addressed it in your just this remark you made now. So thank you so much for this contribution, Ma. Thank you. I appreciate you.
I heard that Remy Nweke is there. I want to pay homage to a wonderful gentleman. Remy and myself have been around for 15 years. And yes, to Nigerians, please, we're not looking for champions in Ikeja or champions in Aba or in Maiduguri. It's an 8 billion population world, and that's where your leadership is needed. So quick fighting with government every day. There's 8 billion market out there, and Nigeria is leading in Africa, and I see no reason why you can't lead in the world. And this is from a Nigerian speaking, even if I'm not in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. We have Dr. Don Pedro Angambi, the CEO of Tech TV. He's around. Can you wave to the to the congregation, please? Can you wave to the people? Okay, thank you. Please.
Thank you very much. All protocols duly observed. The last speaker kind of, like she probably had a peep into my presentation because most of the things she said kind of tallies with what I have here. And I'm looking at the imperative of digital inclusion in the new African digital economy. It is time for digital equity and digital equality. There is a whole lot of divide. All of the things that we have said here, including the presentation that Engineer Namani made. But there is a huge divide because we are speaking to ourselves here, but there's a huge population that simply not even understand what we're talking about in this place. And digital equity is that no one should be left behind. Everyone should be pulled up. COVID-19 caught the world unprepared. And then that really shows the importance of information. Information is critical and powerful. A whole lot of people in the rural communities didn't have access to the life-saving information that people that were on the internet were getting. It was still business as usual, no social distancing. People were still going to the rural markets because they didn't have information that actually could save lives. And this shows that there is a big digital divide between the urban areas and the rural areas. Big human digital divide. Divide in terms of access, divide in terms of even devices. Now, 826 million students were out of school in sub-Saharan Africa due to digital divides in distant learning observed during COVID-19 pandemic. 826 million of people in Africa didn't have access at all. No distant learning. Now, globally, 1.5 billion students and 63 million primary and secondary school teachers also didn't have access. So why are we talking about digital inclusion? Only 43% of Africans are on the internet. That's approximately about 590 million of the African population, which is 1.37 billion people. Nigeria has a population of 211.4 million, according to World Internet Statistics, and have the highest number of users in Africa of 154 million, but not the highest internet penetration. Our internet penetration in Nigeria is 73%. Kenya has a population of 54.9 million, but they have an internet penetration of 85.2%, or 46.8 million people. Now, I just took these two countries because these are the two leading countries in Africa in terms of the digital economy. Now, so where do we stand in Africa? The mobile internet connectivity in Africa is just 26% in sub-Saharan Africa, 26%. The 3G internet coverage we have is 75%, 3G. 4G is 49% in the sub-Saharan Africa. And there's also a huge gender gap, because that's just an area that we need to look at. The gender gap in terms of internet. The number of men versus the number of women that are actually using the internet. The gender gap is 37% between men and women. And then also the gap between the urban and the rural in terms of access is 60%. So we're seeing a huge gap here. Then 30% of primary school age girls are out of school in sub-Saharan Africa. Now, 89% of primary school children in sub-Saharan Africa have no access to computers at home. Then 82% have access to the internet. This is according to the World Economic Forum. So, there are 5 critical areas for ICT development that I just want to highlight them quickly. These 5 areas is, number 1 is awareness. people need to be aware by word of information and enlightenment about the capabilities of the internet and what it can do for them. And also aware of where it can be obtained. The number 2 is access. Access is critical. Number 3 is availability. It must be available for people to be able to have access. The number 4 is affordability. Affordability is, now, yes, the service is available, but how many people actually can afford? Now, Nigerians have been talking about price of data, and so the same in other African countries as well. Price of data. How affordable is it? And then the final one is adoption. Now, adoption here is a situation where, and that's part of the things that the African ICT Foundation we're doing, working with regions in Africa, advocating with government agencies to see how ICT can actually be adopted as a way of doing business. You know, they talk about corruption in Africa a lot of times, but the reason for the corruption, the huge corruption, is because of the human interface. There's a lot of human interface in businesses, and that encourages corruption. So we're looking at adoption in terms of in education, adoption in health, adoption in agriculture, adoption in wide areas, so that, you know, businesses can actually begin to take advantage of that. So as we begin to look at access, for instance, we're talking about infrastructure. What is the quality of access? How do we bridge the digital divide? NCC, for instance, and Universal Service Provision Fund have some a kind of arrangement where they encourage operators to go to rural areas by providing subsidies. That's the way we can also extend this economic advantage to these people that are really largely underpopulated, underserved. Now, so when we're talking about availability, what are we saying? Are the services available? Do we have broadband? Do we have 3G? Do we have 4G? What is the regularity of the services? How regular are the services? What is the service readiness and response to requests from individuals? How do we cater for the unserved and underserved? Now, all of these are in the slide. I think the algorithm can probably provide it to participants so that I can move on quickly. Now, there is need for government to really pay serious attention to this. United Kingdom pumped in £5 billion to support the provision of gigabit capable broadband for the rural communities last year in March 2020. UK already has 95% super fast broadband coverage. And so that really, because the more coverage you have, the more it helps in building the economy. Now, UNESCO in 2015 came up with a framework that is called ROMX. It endorsed the universality of the internet with focus on a set of indicators known as ROMX. Now, ROMX, R-O-M, then X, standing for rights, openness, accessibility, multi-stakeholder engagement and participation, then cross-cutting indicators. Now, for rights, for instance, he said that every human being has the right to information, to freedom of information. There is a set of 303 indicators with 109 core indicators in this area, looking at performance of government, companies, civil societies, and relevant groups with regards to the use of the internet. And the rights indicators examines issues such as freedom of expression, censorship issues, restriction on the use of the internet, censorship of online content, population of online users and content providers. Now, the rights indicators is looking at this. So the broad line issues for the indicators include policy and regulatory framework, freedom of expression, rights of access to information, freedom of association, and conduct of public affairs. So at the African ICT Foundation, therefore, we are advocating that Nigeria should really look at seriously at the Rome X indicators as proposed, as advocated by the UNESCO at the 35th General Assembly, and adopt it, looking at issues of universality of internet. Universality of internet is critical for the development of the African economy. The right to internet that guarantees unhindered access and freedom is sine qua non to the growth of African digital economy. Open access and non-discriminatory policy in critical ICT development in the continent is very important. Accessibility is key for all demographics, and a multi-stakeholder approach is very, very important. And part of the issue that we had also advocated that I mentioned here is for adoption is also important for government to ensure that locally developed softwares are patronized by government agencies as against getting softwares from overseas. And also we say the same thing for other African countries, that where you have locally developed softwares that can actually help drive government and drive the economy, such softwares, I think, should be adopted. In conclusion, internet is a fundamental human right and must be guaranteed for all. Any attempt to infringe on this right will stifle innovation and creativity, will hurt the African economy. However, we'll advocate for ethical and responsible use of the internet in such a way that sanity is maintained. Netizens have the responsibility of ensuring that contents are truthful, responsible, and contributes to the development of society. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, without wasting our time further, I want to welcome Dr. He's online. Can you connect him, please? Dr. Debola Olajide. So if you take someone here, we'll just take someone virtually so that we have everybody, that will be inclusive. Okay, while we are trying to connect with him, I just want to... Okay, is he on now? Okay, Kule, please, I want to come to you just quickly. Yes. With all we've said, the World Wide Web, he's on now? Okay, let me just address this and then we'll come to him. Are you concerned that we do more of download than upload? So what do you have to say about the content? We do more of downloads than uploads.
Is that it?
So how do we get more content to be uploaded so that people out there, people outside Nigeria can, take our content? Because most times what we do is to download people's content.
You're putting me on the spot here. Unfortunately, like a lot of things in other parts of the country, we consume more than we produce. Does that ring any bells? To upload, you need to produce, so we need to produce more, and it takes the knowledge, the skill, and the infrastructure to produce.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for... I'm sorry for putting you on the spot. Okay, so, Dr. Ka, are you on, Doc? Are you on? Please speak to us. Dr. Lajid, are you there? Check whether you're muted. Okay, while they're trying to solve that, I want to come to Chinwade, please. I want to come to you. Yes. Do you think we are doing enough to empower our youths and women to make the best use of the internet? I ask this question because most often we hear about what people have done, the wrong things people are doing with the internet, but we know that you are doing some good things also. What do you think we need to do, to empower most of our youths and women to make the best use of the internet?
Okay, thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Like you said, let me just also admit that we're doing so much already, but we can do even much more. And I'm really appreciative of many women standing up in the space of ICT in recent times to also stand as an encouragement for people that are upcoming. I think many a times the issue we have with the girl child coming into STEM is basically because they don't have people to run to. But by the time we have more women coming into STEM as already made leaders, they have the opportunity is there now to go to people and learn. The girl child is very important, particularly when it comes to the digital economy we're talking about and all. Because as a woman, we have a special room to even carry better ideas. Thank you. Not to sound sentimental.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, let me come to, is he on now? Hello, say something, sir. Doc, can you hear us? Oh. We can still not hear you. Okay, are you on, sir?
I am on.
Oh. Okay, we can hear you now. We can hear you.
That's good.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So, just in few minutes, tell us, what you're discussing about. Just in few minutes, tell us your view about the World Wide Web, especially as it relates to the internet and the telemedicine and e-health, which is the area where you cover very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. I thank the organizers of CECAD, Dr. Bayero Agabi is a friend way back, and it's good to see him still pushing to see that we bridge the digital divide. While standing on existing protocols, having listened to earlier speakers, I'll be focusing quickly on the health sector, which is how the internet as well as digital technology will create new opportunities as part of the digital economy for Africa. Now we have a subsector of that digital economy, which will be known as the digital health economy. And why is that going to be? Population in Africa is over 1 billion people of 16 countries, and most of our citizens still reside in remote areas. And so we usually have challenges of access to quality health services, as well as problems of financing healthcare services. As a matter of fact, COVID-19 has been the driver for the use of these technologies in healthcare. So what are the promises? We are talking about 2030 development goals, and we are looking at universal health coverage as a means of providing health services for the vulnerable, for the unreachable populations, whose populations reside over 56% of our population in Africa that lives in these remote areas. 48.6 thereabout stays in the urban centers where these technologies are available. So the promises is that for us to be able to protect our citizens, for government to provide effective and efficient quality health services that is affordable, these technologies optimize our revenue increase. Health resources are very scarce. Planning national health system requires a lot of resources, but with this technology now, it is possible to have contributions into the national social health insurances of the various countries, the 16 countries of Africa, and that way you can make a contribution from the informal sectors and they can be protected in time of illness where they won't be able to afford to pay for their health care. We're also seeing cost reductions in terms of cost savings, in terms of travel times and the turnaround time to get a medical consultation or to be tested or have a second opinion or to have your tests, medical diagnostic test reviewed. And also this technology is bringing opportunity to expand coverage. Looking at the fact that most of us still live far away from where these infrastructures that will drive the internet in the health sectors are currently being deployed. As this broadband is being deployed from the city centers towards remote areas, there's possibility of expanding the coverage of health services. I've talked about financial protection and improved outcome for everyone along the value chains. And because of time, what are the challenges? There are still challenges despite that post-pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, the uptake of this technology in the health sector has improved compared to years of where we have limited adoption because the health sector is still the only sector that is yet to be fully automated and digitized. It's the last sector to yet come fully online. We still have self-limiting cultural beliefs, which varies from cultural settings to the other about how my health information will be handled and how I can trust the person who is on the other side of the internet. And with artificial intelligence coming up, a great demand is on the ethics as well as the privacy and how these health informations are processed. So these self-limiting cultural beliefs, again, can be seen to be one of the challenges in having fully automated system. I hope I'm still online. And then the other challenges we see is that of health insurance limitations because technology initially has a cost, and then when you look at the total cost of ownership, with initial huge cost, most healthcare organizations tend to shy away from deploying this technology. But with the increase in this uptake, we see that using artificial intelligence can actually improve on how we contribute for health insurance and also how to reduce how people eradicate identity theft in terms of the enrollees who provide and the providers of these services. So because our insurance coverage, for instance, in Nigeria is less than 5% of our population, that actually limits the deployment of this technology. So we need to up the game. Then the infrastructural deficit is also something of interest. Like I made mention, I've been having in the last 10, 15 minutes an unstable internet. At the commencement of the World Wide Web Day celebration, my network was very hot and then wasn't slow. The bandwidth speed was okay until now. Thank you, Doc. Again, we need to keep working to see how these challenges are resolved. So there's no doubt that COVID-19 has revealed how fragile our national health systems are across Africa, and not just Africa, globally. Digital health tools and internet technology provides an opportunity for us to enable and achieve universal health coverage. Thank you very much. It's a privilege for having me to be part of this virtually.
Thank you so much, Doc. Thank you so much for your contribution. And please stay around because if there are some questions, we may call on you also to make contributions. Let me go to Oloye Harrison. One of the things he identified has to do with infrastructure. And as a company that has been in the space of infrastructure provision for the last 15 years, and you've seen it all. You've been in the field and you have the feel of what is happening out there. So in your view, what can be done to bring the unserved areas, into the space?
While standing on existing protocols, just like the moderator just said, infrastructure deficit in Nigeria cannot just be quantified just on one day. One of the key things that we've seen what I call a reusal of same technologies. We've seen a situation whereby many a times, I recall we were dealing with one infrastructure. I'm sure the person that did the installation is here. And then we're having issues doing a last mile delivery to a particular site. And this is a tech company, one of the biggest players in the telecoms industry, that we installed an equipment for like 10 years back. And we're still seeing the same infrastructure in this jet age. So definitely they can never have 5G, not in the next 2-3 years, except they have a quick revamp of their infrastructure. I'm talking of just 2 years ago, and then we're using an equipment that was installed 10 years ago. We know companies need to also invest in technologies. Africans need to invest more. You're not going to depend on government to invest on infrastructure when it comes to digital technologies. They can only encourage the sector to invest more. So in my own take, while government is giving the enabling environment for businesses to survive in the ecosystem or the tech space of especially those who are some who are in the infrastructure space, I would like to see a better. We'll see a lot of data centers springing up. I'd like to see a lot of infrastructures being improved upon. There are so many places in Lagos that don't have fiber. I'm talking of Lagos that has it all. There are lots of places you need to go to Far East, Adamawa. I can tell you, there are places you can't even see 2G. And I can tell you there are places that are still underserved, even unserved. We are involved in the project, and I found out that in a couple of places where we think there is at least some form of data, nothing is happening there. So I know the population, or we'll say, oh, there's we have a lot of we have like over 60 million, 70 million internet users in Nigeria, or more, or 100 and something. But the truth is this: some of us have like 2-3 service providers, and so that calls for that number. So if we want to look at the real users, it's not that same percentage. So I'm seeing a future where companies, I'm talking of the private sector, investing more in infrastructure. And let me tell you one thing: the more you invest in those infrastructure, the more your own economy expands too. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that contribution. Thank you. Please, can you connect us to Confidence? So I'll take one contribution online. While we're getting across to Confidence to make her contribution, let me come to Wale Kalejaye. With what we have seen today, the web, with Nigeria as a case study, how do you think Africa can offer a better governed digital economy ecosystem?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and I stand on all existing protocols. Thanks for the question, and I want to also appreciate the previous speakers, as most of the issues have already been dealt with adequately. Now, back to your question. As we know, the internet is still evolving, despite how advanced it looks like today. 3-4 years ago, we're still talking of 3G. But look at the speed that we've got into with the 5G. And I'm sure that the innovators, scientists, engineers are working on even a narrower band to deliver faster access. So how will Africa benefit from all this advancement? It's enormous, and it's more to do with various African governments to encourage and invest in the adequate infrastructure to attract this innovation. Like the previous speaker said, if we do not improve, revamp our infrastructure, take for instance the world of today, where we have analytics, machine learning, BI, AI, and all that. Our youths are very intelligent. We have a lot of unemployment in Africa, and this is an area that the government should tap into across all the African countries. We should be setting up IT parks, IT centers, not IT, what do they call it, cyber cafe, no, but IT parks where people can go with their laptop, link up and start learning Python, learning programming, our language, and we can now be offering and exporting our expertise. I was in Bangalore a few months ago, and I was amazed at how India is exporting programming. A lot of programmers in India work in UK, in Europe, and all that without leaving their space. So why can't Africa also benefit from this? This is even the time where, from what we have seen in the last 2 years in the world, where we've all been in one space or another, it shows that we can work at home and still achieve optimal results. So I would end my response by saying the same thing again. Government should attract investors, encourage to develop our infrastructure adequately so that we can actually connect and tap into this fast-moving data train.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that contribution, sir. Thank you. Let me get to confidence now. Can you hear us?
I'm here.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Please,
I can hear you very well, Peter. Okay. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Just a quick one. So with all the benefits highlighted, and the digital economy has also created new risks from cybersecurity breaches to facilitating illegal economic activities and challenges. So I'm talking about the issue of privacy. So are you worried about privacy on the web?
Thank you very much for that question. Whether or not I'm worried about privacy on the web is a very, very, I would like to, I'll give a subjective answer. We know that we consume quite a lot of services online, and some of those services we do not get to pay for it. The truth is that to an appreciable extent, we are paying with our privacy for the services that we are receiving. However, how far the intrusion or how permeating these technologies will allow them to take on and privacy is a different ballgame entirely, and different appetites for different people. But generally speaking, I will comment around digital economy as it has to do with security, cybersecurity generally. And I have listened to quite a lot of the other speakers discuss around inclusion, digital access for the unserved and the underserved, and I'm really, really blown away that we're having this conversation and we're having it at this scale, and I'm excited that we're having this. However, we should also really note that with an increased uptick in digital technologies, we also have an increased cybersecurity risk. That's not by itself a bad thing if we're doing something about it, because just about any venture we take on, there has to be some sort of risk. If you have a warehouse, for example, you would have a security guy at the gate for one. You would have really strong doors, you would have processes and things around to ensure that your goods and services stored in your warehouse, your goods stored in the warehouse are not stolen. So I'm calling on everyone here as well to take on that same mentality online, because as we're embracing digital and embracing the digital economy, which is a must right now, we should also not pay lip service to cybersecurity, both from the data security angle of someone who collects data and is a custodian of data, like health data. I mean, I was listening to Dr. speak about this, and I was nodding right here. The responsibility of collecting that data and storing it securely is yours, and we should make sure that we uphold that very strongly and invest in cybersecurity in that regard. We also need to invest in cybersecurity as it has to do with awareness of the end user, their risk and their responsibilities. Strongly, I'm going to emphasize responsibilities to using digital technologies. We need to ensure that our end users understand what these risks are, how to identify, for example, phishing emails, what responsibility they have to safeguard their information and to ensure that, they don't give this information to people who could exploit them, for example. So those are some of the things I want to touch on. We should also not pay lip service to skill and talent acquisition in cybersecurity. I mean, I listened to the last speaker just comment around what's happening in India, and I definitely really agree with him. In fact, in line with that, I believe that we can go from, as a country and as a continent, we can go from being, go from cybercrime and transform to cyber great, where we're exporting our talents in cybersecurity and servicing the rest of the world. What's stopping us from being the India of the world as it has to do with cybersecurity? We already know that there's a lot of talent here, but that is being purposed for the wrong reasons. How about we repurpose them? How about we even drive inclusion and solve unemployment issues with cybersecurity as we develop our people? I mean, I listened to Tino Ade speak around inclusion, and this is so dear to my heart, and that's why I launched Cyber Girls. What we're doing with Cyber Girls is we are upskilling, we are skilling girls, giving girls cybersecurity skills in 6 states across Nigeria: Adamawa, Kaduna, Cross River, Enugu. I mean, just about one state per geopolitical zone. And what we're doing is we're giving those girls cybersecurity skills as a way to alleviate them from poverty. Sorry, something just got into my eyes. Yeah, so I believe that we shouldn't pay lip service also to talent grooming and ensuring that our people have the skills to take up the opportunities that the digital economy are going to give us in every regard, including information security. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I know confidence, if I allow you, I'm going to go into different dimensions too. Thank you for these brief remarks. Let me go to Erin Omije. Is she online? As we are trying to connect her from InfoBeep, sorry. As we're trying to connect to her, let me come to Engineer Namani. Where is the money? Everything goes around investments. Where's the money? I know you've made mention about, you have been always called for a special bank for the ICT sector to help to raise the funding and to help to support. Do you still, agree, stand on that? So where's the money to invest? Everything talks about investment. Where is it?
Yeah, thanks. The reality is, yes, more investment is needed, but we are also seeing a lot of investment come into the space. As I mentioned earlier, I'm aware of some new data center being built, upwards of $100 million per data center. That is new foreign direct investment coming into that space. I'm also aware of some new investment in metro fiber and the rest of it. So if you've also been following the trend, there's been also some good valuation and investment in the fintech space within the country. So all these have one thing in common. These are all private sector driven. So yes, from the government side, we've seen some good process from Galaxy Backbone and the rest of it, which, by the way, people don't understand this. It's not even directly funded by the federal government. It's just that there's some off-taking partnership that allows some government agencies to be able to off-take on their infrastructure. So currently, they are also working with the private sector to make sure that the infrastructure they are building is open access, that other private operators can also use it, right? So there is money. The reality is, before now, the approach to access the body has not been ideal. We've also, for a long time, dependent on the traditional banking option, which is depending on the banks to finance you. That has not worked because the banks don't have the right structure for the kind of investment that is needed. You need long-term investment. You need very cheap investment. The Nigeria banking system is currently not structured for that kind of funding. So having realized that, the private sector is now looking towards more equity-based kind of play, foreign-based kind of play, and the funding is coming. But your project have to have the right structure. It has to have the right potential. What we've seen in the past is that people don't just have the right structure. Instead, your company needs equity investment. You are looking for loan and vice versa. We've seen some of that in the past, so it's been corrected. But the opportunity is there. People know that we've got the market, not just within Nigeria, but across the sub-region. People also know that there's good return on investment in this space. So all that drives investment into the space.
Thank you, sir.
It's still a building block, but sure, the investment is coming.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for that contribution. So let me go to Erin. Is she there? Okay, please, can you hear us?
Yes,
Okay,
yes, I can.
Thank you so much. So today you can open a bank account via the internet. You can contact your customers via WhatsApp. You know, today INEC is conducting a voter registration online, and the numbers are increasing. But for companies that want to scale, they need the skills of young people to do all this. Coming from the perspective of what IFOB has been doing, do you think we have enough talents or skills that will help us, you know, take advantage of the World Wide Web and the new dimension is going now in the digital economy?
Okay, thank you for.
Hello? Are you there? Network.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. We'll improve it.
Please, we can't wait for 5G. We can't wait for 5G. So from the audience, please, if you have questions, just put it. I have one or two spaces for questions before we conclude. But as we're waiting for her to come back, probably network will allow her to come back. Let me come to Kunle. So your question now is the incentives. To get young people more engaged in the digital economy, we need incentives. So what are some of those incentives?
It's ironic you're asking me that question, because that's what's on my mind all the while the conversation was going on. I mean, it's brilliant to have tech experts and great men and women here discussing the back end of how the technology is going to work, how investment is going to come. Let me just give you two short stories, very quick ones, less than a minute. I just heard a story of a young man who doesn't live in Lagos. He lives in Ibadan. And he did a boot camp on coding. I think he spent $18,000 on the training. Pretty expensive if we look at it from that perspective. Long story short, this young man, still living in Ibadan, after the boot camp, you know, got his first employment without leaving Ibadan. $60,000. The company that trained him said, no, this guy is one of our best students for this session. They negotiated, because one of the things they offer is after the training, they also try and place you. They negotiated him to $90,000 per annum. He did that for a few months and got a better job of $150,000. This gentleman is still living in Ibadan. He hasn't moved to Lagos. So there's opportunity. Let me tell you another one. YouTube, when you're talking about data, at the end of the day, all this technology has to be consumed. You have to apply it to talent, because, I mean, phones won't make money by themselves. People have to pay for the services and the product to actually, for us to get the money, I mean, the tech experts. Now, let's look at how to make money with the technology. YouTube is one way where a lot of people all over the world are making money just by doing virtually anything. Trust me when I say anything. Just for standing and looking at the camera, some people are getting paid. I mean, I don't know what beats that. Now, listen to this. In the last 2 years, okay, between 2019 and 2020, while the whole world was, you know, businesses were crashing, aviation, in the hospitality industry, things were affected. 10 people in the world made roughly $201 million for doing nothing but just putting video on the internet. 10 people, the top 10 earners on YouTube. And guess what? The number one earner on YouTube makes roughly 29.5 million every year. The least earner earns about $18.7 million. Dollars, though, I'm not talking naira, please, by the way. So this highest earner on YouTube, guess what? Who makes $29.5 million every year is just 9 years old. A 9-year-old boy plays with toys. The father records the video, and this young boy makes almost $30 million a year. The opportunities are vast. Nigerians are hungry. The youths are ready. But again, tying into the question you first asked me, more uploads than downloads, more downloads than uploads. We consume more than we produce. Now our nature, But the talents are there. It's just that the infrastructure needs to be there. Electricity needs to be available for me to record the video, edit it, and upload it. For my internet to work. You saw what just happened. World Wide Web just happened to us now, the last speaker. Things like that. When they are taking care of, the opportunities are limitless.
Yeah, I want to add to what he just said because we need to change the narrative. We actually need to start letting people understand what is going on and the truth, okay? I have a very personal experience of what he just said about the guy in Ibadan. This one is my own nephew. Some of you may know him. He used to work with me. This guy finished from Uniport, studied computer science. He came back and didn't really understand the space, right? So he started internship with me. And within a 6 months window, right here in Lagos, without going, and I think he even attended some program at DBI, okay? This guy was able to train himself very well in coding and other stuff, right? So while he was still here working, he got a job from Canada. And they were paying him in dollars while he was here in Nigeria. He didn't, for more than 2 years, he was working and they were paying him big money, good money. I won't say the amount, but the guy was earning serious money that when you convert it, it runs into millions every month. From literally a 6 months training program, he took time. Fairness to him, he gave the effort. He was dedicated. 6 months, the guy was literally living in the room, not coming out to hang around with people. But he trained himself, and he got a very, very good job. So this same thing people are talking of India is happening here. Just that people, we are not saying a lot of it. And the youth need to understand that, because if you understand that you can make more money being a professional, that may take you literally not more than 6 months from the day you decide to be trained. You don't need to do Yahoo. Or when I hear some of those things, I just wonder because something is wrong. There is good paying jobs you can do in ICT that if you start today to train yourself, within 6 months, you can get foreign companies paying you while you are still in this country.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Joe, yes, please. Please.
Thank you very much. It boils down to those five things I talked about. Awareness. A whole lot of the youths are not really aware that can make money from the internet. So I think the media, they have a responsibility really in terms of letting the people know the capabilities and what is there in everyone in the internet. People are not aware. They don't know.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Please, can you answer? Wale, please.
Yes, thank you. I like the facts, like my colleague said, that the media has a role to play in this. Now, I'm going to come from another angle to add to that, and that is to encourage our youths to deviate from usual chatting, snapping pictures, Snapchat, and doing mundane things on social media. People are really making big bucks, impacting lives, posting things, content that are noteworthy, that will be earning good money. So we need to start moving from the traditional use of Facebook, social media, Snapchat, and all that, and start using these things in a very productive and rewarding way. And that is also part of the duty of our media and, those around. So, yeah.
Thank you so much. I've heard you speak passionately about this, so I want to make a contribution.
Okay, so just like my bosses have spoken, I remember I read about a game streamer sometimes last week who all he does is just to play games, people watch him, and he makes money. Of course, thanks to the WW, thanks to the internet, because he has that opportunity to just say it. He had learned over time how to beat the games, and he plays it, and everybody gets excited, and they pay watching him. We have had different cases of people okay, so I have a friend who is in Nigeria, and he does 3 jobs, one with Canada, US, and I think he just picked one with the UK. He's a data scientist, and he builds some intelligence program for them to maybe support a program or the other. And that is why there's not so much wondering about why most of these big companies or countries come down to Africa to dig the talent out. The other time I heard the High Commissioner of Britain saying, we're trying to look for best talent, and in my mind, wow, you are looking for best talent, what happens to us? I think the government also have to do more. Because many a times when you don't harness what you have or make it feel like it's appreciated, there is this decline that comes in, I'm not appreciated, let me look for something else. We have people doing really great things here in Nigeria and even in Africa that can better the lives of so many things around. In recent time, I saw a video of a little boy that trains others about key facts of what happens in the world or countries. And the YouTube channel, like he said, has grown so much, and I know they pay him for that. At what age is that? And they're already getting to know this. So I think as parents, mothers, fathers, guardians, professionals, we have the responsibility to also talk more about this. The awareness is really key. Many a times we feel there aren't bad things that happen in other countries because the media doesn't bring it to us to see. But when a little thing happens here, we broadcast it, they see it, and they tag us, this is how Africa is. But the truth is that of the 20 economy even in the world, cutting edge in technology, 19 is from Africa. So what are we talking about? We have the potentials, we have the ability to do, but the government, the private sectors, we all need to come together to even do more, create that enabling environment, and the people will definitely thrive. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this session. Thank you. I appreciate everyone who contributed. Government, civil society, academia, the scientific community, and the technology industry must work together to find new solutions and ensure that we get what we want. Thank you so much. I couldn't take questions because of the time, but I appreciate everyone who contributed towards this discussion. And I believe that World Wide Web we're celebrating today will give us more goodies in years to come. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A round of applause for the panelists. Before they go, we need to take photos. The panel moderator, Peter Luka, did a fantastic job. Please join us here. Is Dr. Baira Gabi, is he around for the picture session? After now, we're quickly moving over to the presentation of plaques, and then it will be a wrap for today. Peter, please. Baira, please go to the middle as the man of the match. You could go to the other side. Okay, can we just, okay, yeah. The photographers, are you ready? Are we aligned enough? Do we cut it across? We have much of hardwares in this. justice to this session. A round of applause for Peter Oluka of Tech Economy. Please appreciate him. He just got a new award just last week from the Titans of Tech. God bless you. We'll be appreciating our partners for making this day a reality. Thank you very much to CloudFlex, our premier enterprise cloud computing infrastructure. CloudFlex, please, a round of applause.
familiar with. All right. Indeed, we want to appreciate every one of us who has been part of this event, those who have joined us virtually from Ilorin, Kwara State, from Abuja, from Kano, from Portugal, and a host of other cities who were able to link up with us for this celebration. Those of us who have made it to the venue of the World Wide Web Day Celebration 2021, we'd like to thank you. And on behalf of every member of the team of the Center for Cyber Awareness and Development, we can't appreciate all our partners enough. We want to appreciate the Nigerian Communications Commission, the National Information Technology Development Agency, Digital Bridge Institute, Galaxy Backbone Limited. We want to appreciate every one of you and the private sector, Medallion Communications, PFS, Precise Financial Systems, and we want to appreciate those who are here seated, our influencer, our social, our content creator, our renowned Frank Dunga. We want to thank you so much for your presence, and each and every one of you here seated. Without you, this event, it's not a reality. So we thank you, and thank you. We pray that as you return to your respective destinations, God Almighty would guide your path. And of course, we look forward to seeing you in our future events. Once again, from all of us, we say thank you and God bless. We'll take the national anthem of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Please, let's be upstanding for the national anthem. We are only here because Nigeria is in existence. And of course, we must appreciate our own country in the spirit of nationalism. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. The national anthem. Thank you.
The DJ loves Nigeria so much, so he wants us to have it in twos. Thank you very much for your time and patience. Thank you for honoring our invitation. We appreciate your time, and thank you for being a fantastic audience. My name is Louisa Olani. It is an honor to be your host for today. See you some other time as we take over the digital economy, doing all we need to do on the internet and keeping all of the information we need to do to move on. Thank you very much for your time. Have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.
This is Digivation Network.